15th. This is the 11 o'clock docket of the Liquor Board. Justin Chargoy, Pie 360 LLC, trade name Pie 360. This is at 3731 Boston Street, a Class B beer, wine, and liquor application for transfer of ownership.
Okay, my commissioner doesn't have.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Your notebook is missing, but I will give you my files.
Sorry I'm late.
You're not late,
I'm not?
you're right on time.
Okay. Good, I'm right on time. Can I take a moment and just make an observation?
Sure.
While we're getting resettled, and I'm not as on time as I'd like to be, since we last met, Baltimore has experienced what I would like to think is the worst of times. And it's been rough to watch. It's been televised nationally. But one of the things that really matters to those of us in the room is a number of our licensees were heavily damaged or completely lost in the riot that impacted West Baltimore and throughout the city on Monday night. And I would just like to take a moment and recognize that that's what's happened, and to, just speaking for myself, convey, although we're a regulatory body, and we are, there's also a level of humanity that should pervade all that we do, and it does. I went to West Baltimore Tuesday and observed one of our licensees sitting on the granite steps of his store, sobbing. And I just want to say, for myself and perhaps for all of us, that those things are not unnoticed. We feel it. It's a horrible thing that has happened. It's a small business. It's a licensee. It's someone that we have imposed violations on. But in those great moments of great loss, there is great sorrow and empathy. There's not a lot that we can do as a regulatory body other than to say that we're sorry that that has happened to one of our neighbors. Thank you.
I was gonna ask all the licensees' lawyers to chip in at a fund to, you gonna be the first? Good, Ben Franklin. All right, you call the first case.
Oh, sir, yes, that was Pie 360. That's at 31 Boston Street, sir, and that's been read into the record.
All right, you're representing the,
For the record, Melvin J. Kaminsky, representing licensees. The board remembers that we took testimony last time. The only person who was not here was the prior licensee who was down in Kentucky, and we had sent a letter in indicating that they had given up the business and were not coming back. Other than that, we had letters of approval from the President of the Canton Community Association for this particular development.
and there's no opposition.
No opposition, absolutely.
All right, you're right, we've had this before. I have not made any regulation with respect to people out of town. And I'm thinking about it, so I'm not going to require the licensee in view of the letter that's been written, which is under affidavit, which I have received, is in the file. And is there anything else you want to say?
No, other than Baltimore County, how they solved that problem,
No,
they
how?
Skype them in. We have all this electronic hair director, he's up there looking at me now, they can Skype them in. Because they have people from Cheesecake Factory, you know, on the West Coast, they Skype them in, take testimony on Skype.
Mhm.
So I'm asking only suggestion on how.
Well, I turn it over to our executive secretary to analyze it.
Yes, so we will research that.
Mhm.
Have it all, I'll have.
All right, commissioners, have any questions?
I'd just like to commend Mr. Kaminsky for being up on his
Technology.
modern day technology.
I got a chip in my ear too.
But that's for other reasons, and we didn't want to go into that.
No other questions?
No other question.
All right, I vote yes.
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 All right, you have our decision, sir. Thank you. Call
Yeah,
it
that's fine,
when
thank
you're
you.
ready.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Here's your thing. $100. I just need $100 fee for.
All right, right, call the next case.
Come on, Ben, no problem. Okay. Jin Q Yang, Zhu N Zhang, Lin Yan, Inc. This is for trade name Gordon's Cut Rate at 1655 North Monroe Street, a Class A beer, wine, liquor, an application for transfer of ownership.
All right, sir. Good morning, Your Honor. You represent the, okay, are both licensees here? All right, and your name, sir?
Mr. Chang is present and Mrs. Yang is present.
All right, and your name, sir?
My name is Jay Yu, the attorney for the petitioner or the transferee, J-A-Y. And last name is spelled Y-O-O.
Okay, all right. Now, are you gonna have any testimony? All right, I'd be glad to hear from you.
Your Honor, this is a straight transfer petition. Mr. Jang is the Western agent who has a real property in the city, and he is qualified due to the fact that he does not have any criminal records and he's of a good moral character. And he did pay property tax for the past 2 years. I do have record of that, and Mrs. Yang, same eyes, did undergo fingerprinting, and the record indicates that she has good moral characters, no prior history of any criminal or serious traffic infractions or convictions. They qualify as the
All right, I'm put the following as Exhibit 1 and this Exhibit 2. Any questions of the commissioners? There's
None.
no opposition, is that correct?
That's my understanding.
All right, sir. Commissioners' questions?
None?
No questions?
All right, I vote yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right, you have our decision.
Uh,
Well, let me know when you're ready. All right, call the next case.
The next case is Carlos Azur, Rumba Tropical Cafe LLC, trade name Rumba Tropical Lounge, 7 East Lexington Street. This is a new Class B beer, wine, liquor, an application for a new Class B under the provisions of Rule 2.08, requiring $200,000 in capital investment in restaurant fixtures, facilities, and seating capacity for a minimum of 75 persons, excuse me.
Who's you representing?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Stephen W. Fogelman, 1720 Thames Street, on behalf of the applicant.
We also have here Tom Yeager from Downtown Partnership and Felix Chihuere, the owner of the real property.
And both license, oh, you have.
New license.
New
Yes,
license.
sir.
Prospective. All right, now, do you have any testimony?
Briefly, first I would like,
Just, I know you're gonna speak, but you can, you're Esquire. But do you have any, in addition to that, do you have any testimony?
yes, brief testimony.
Swear the witnesses.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Glad to hear from you.
Thank you very much. First, I'll call Felix Chihuere, the owner of the real property. Please step up to the microphone. Mr. Chihuere, no, this microphone. Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
He wants the spelling of your name.
Yes, please. My first name is spelled C as in Charles, C-H-I, A as in apple, B as in boy, U as in unity, O as in orange, T as in Thomas, U as in unity. And my last name is Chihuere, C-H-I-K, W as in wearer, E as in elephant, R as in recovery, E as in elephant.
All right,
Sure,
thank you, Mr. Chihuere. The K is silent, right?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you. You're the owner of the real property at 7 East Lexington Street, Baltimore, Maryland. Isn't that right?
Yes, I am.
All right. And you made renovations and improvements to the building, including the first floor restaurant. Isn't that right?
Right.
All right. And you've summarized the cost of the renovations and improvement made for the first floor restaurant and signed under oath a statement here today. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And is that, in fact, an original Stein statement made by you today?
Yes, it is.
All right. Are these also 3 original statements signed by you today summarizing the expenditures?
Yes, it is.
All right. I'd submit to the board at this time, I have 3 copies, one for each of you, outlining $253,650 in improvements to the first floor business at 7 East Lexington Street. And Mr. Choueiri, as the commissioners are going through your expenditures, could you describe them for me?
Okay. The first floor, tile flooring material, 12,000. Flooring installation, 4,700. Ceiling materials, 7,200. Roof labor, 3,500. Roof material, 2,500. Plumbing, 15,000. Electrical, 26,500. Security cameras, 2,500. First floor door windows, 11,200. Painting, 7,500, including the painting itself. Awnings, 6,700. Furniture, bar, cooler, refrigerator, and all those that has to do with the biomaterial is 65,000. Kitchen, bar equipment, that's for the kitchen, 75,000. Basement cooler, we have a big basement in the cooler just to store, just for extra. 7,400. Basement flooring, because I have to do the flooring, that's how we are on the basement, because we have to take trash out there from the back. 3,500. Then the basement floor itself is 3,700. All totaling is 253,650.
And Mr. Choueiri, is this money that you're budgeted, or these funds that you have actually already spent?
This has already been spent on the building, sir.
Okay, and I'm going to show you some photos. Could you identify those photos for me? The first one?
The first one is like the cameras and the equipment and stuff.
All right, does this show renovations being conducted on the business?
Oh, yes,
All right, I'd like to admit these, they're all the same, one for each of you, for the second exhibit.
And is this a photo of the renovated barn?
Yes, that's a bar, sir.
And I'd like to,
Same thing.
thank you. And does this photo show your new doors, awnings, and windows?
Same thing.
Exhibit 4, thank you very much. How many seats, Mr. Choueiri, are in the restaurant?
How many what?
Seats.
All right, let me catch up with you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
File Exhibit 1, the renovations and improvements, first floor restaurant, Exhibit 2, and the pictures 3, 4, and 5 exhibits. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Choueiri, could you describe the seating and the capacity of the establishment?
The capacity is 95, and we have 19 tables.
You have 19 tables.
Yes.
Seating how many patrons
Four,
each?
four, four, four each.
Okay, 19, 4 tops.
Yes.
All right, and then how many seats at bar?
15,
All right.
15 seats.
Thank you.
15
Fif-
barstools.
15 bar stools. And is this an amended drawing of the floor plan of the restaurant? All right, I'd like to submit this. I only have one copy as a 6th
See
exhibit.
the next exhibit.
I'm good, thank you, sir.
Thank you. And finally, Mr. Choueiri, have you ever applied for a new license through the liquor board?
Have I ever applied for a new license?
A new license?
Yes.
There was a license prior at the location, isn't that right?
Right.
That license was transferred in, isn't that right?
Right.
Okay. But there has never been a
Oh.
request for a
Okay.
brand-new license
No, no,
issued by this board?
No, 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 sir.
Okay. And when did you complete these improvements that you have outlined in Exhibit 1?
It's about a year ago.
They're still ongoing, though, aren't they?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. We're still making some improvements.
All right, but none of this money was spent more than a year ago?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Choueiri. I'm sure there are questions.
Well, I have a question. This is a previous bar then.
It was a restaurant called the Sushi Place that failed. There was I believe, a B or BD7, and the owner basically absconded, and it's, Come on over.
Oh, yeah.
But there's never been a new restaurant license applied for at that address, and that's what,
Questions, Commissioners?
Just to clarify, because it was brought up, currently, there is no license at this location.
there is I mean,
No.
without getting into viability of it, it's hard to say. This is a licensed premises. I don't know if the license was renewed. The license has lapsed because of closure.
It'll expire today.
Oh, okay.
It's expired.
Talk, please.
Thank you.
So the understanding is that the license that is there now expires today?
Yes,
So that's why they need a new license. Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I vote yes.
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 All right.
You have our decision, sir.
Thank you. And just for the record, the Downtown Partnership is in accord with the plans of the applicant. Thank you very much.
We just figured that with you standing here, that's probably a word of support.
You never know, but
I
yeah,
know, that's
usually,
true.
usually.
Should've
Thank you very much.
slowed down.
Have a great day.
All right, let me know when you're ready. Call the next case.
Diana Fava, Trini Arcia Cafe LLC, Trini Arcia Cafe. This is at 111 West Center Street, a Class B beer, wine, and liquor. A request to add live entertainment, off-premises catering, and outdoor seating.
Good morning.
Who's representing?
My name is Will Bauer. I'm working with my cousins here, Vince and Diane Fava. Miss Diane can't be here today, but she wrote a letter. If you'd like to look at this.
You're not a counsel.
No, I'm an assistant.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Now, let me ask you a question. This is all only about adding on
Outdoor seating,
Outdoor
live
seating
entertainment, and catering.
and catering.
Yes, sir.
That's the issue.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'll be glad. And-
Also, see live entertainment too.
Yes, all three, live entertainment, outdoor seating, and catering.
All right, and your name, sir,
At Will Bauer, Bauer.
and your address?
It's 846 West 36th Street, 21211. This is Mr. Vince Fava. His wife is Diane Fava, the licensee at the location. And we have a letter from Diane why she couldn't make it today. They were one of the first victims of the looting. And fortunately, today is going to be their first day reopened. So they've worked hard for the past few days to get reopened as Trinacchia Cafe.
This is a new one right there across from the, right there on Park Avenue.
Center, correct.
Yeah.
diagonal from the Walters Archaeology.
Yeah.
way to describe it.
Mhm.
And they've been open for a little over a year now. And we, of course, about a month ago applied for this hearing, didn't want to reschedule it, we wanted to keep going through it.
All right, anything else you want to say?
Oh, no, Mr. Vince, you want to say anything?
Glad to hear from you.
I guess people, yes, no, I mean, no, I'm fine.
Now, let's see what-
I just want to add the entertainment, it's not going to be much, it's just not, I just need to do it to keep up with the place next door.
And you're married to Pasquale's daughter?
Yes, mm-hmm.
We have Mr. Steve Johnson from the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association.
Okay, be glad to hear from you, sir. Your name?
Move the microphone over. You can move it over.
Have spoken to Will, rather, by email in regard to the live entertainment issue, and we came up with some agreeable restrictions on the live entertainment, which has a letter that has signatures we'd like to present for the record, and it would be included on their license. In addition, MVBA usually requests that in an apartment building that they support the application for live entertainment and outdoor table service. And I have an email response from Katie McDonald, who's the property manager, that is in support of the request for permission of live entertainment
Yeah,
based
what, a
on the
12-story
agreement here.
building there, isn't
Sir?
it? 12-story, I'm trying to remember.
Yes, about 12 stories. I'm not sure how many it is.
All right, let me catch up with you. The file, Exhibit 1, with commissioners looking at Exhibit 2, and this is Exhibit 3. And this is Exhibit 4. Here's 3. All right, what else do you want to say, sir?
Outside of that, with the agreement in place, we're fine.
All right, do you wish to say anything?
No, sir.
All right, do you have anything further you wish to say?
I have a broad copy of the CD. There's the local house bands, the Marquis Simone. You guys can more than welcome to listen to the CD anytime you like. It's acoustical Italian traditional music. He and his son sometimes play together. The most of always be is 3 people, accordion, mandolin.
Unless the commissioners want to see it, I'm going to give it back to you.
Oh, you can keep that. That's from
All
Mr.
right.
Marquis Simone.
All
You
right,
guys.
next exhibit. All right, questions of commissioners?
I think that we should have some understanding of what the live entertainment is. Is it
It's
this,
exactly
Christmas
right.
music?
That'd be his house band. It's an Italian traditional thing. That'd be the house band. But he also wants to host the local Peabody students, classically trained to do music. It will never be amplified music as part of the agreement. It doesn't suit what.
To help support the neighborhood and the students that like to get a little bit of experience. You know, I thought that would be nice for them because they do support me. So in essence, I would like to support them because they're always coming up with their instruments and music. You know, I'm not doing, you know, jazz. I mean, you know, this DJ and all this other loud stuff. I don't want to do that. I just want to help the kids there. And I think that would be a good way of doing that. To give it back to them, which they gave to me.
And I promise never to perform. I promise.
Do you have any comment on that?
Well, I was going to suggest, Dana, if you would like, I could read part of the agreement. The live entertainment will be limited to no more than 3 persons at one time, no amplified music, acoustical instruments only, and no DJs. Live entertainment will be provided during the following times: Sunday through Thursday up to 10 p.m. each night, and Friday and Saturday up to 12 p.m. each night. So we put some suitable restrictions in there to keep the live entertainment. And we also asked for our usual sunset provision where the permission for live entertainment ceases to exist upon sale or transfer of the license.
Now, across the street's now an apartment house, isn't it? Used to be a warehouse.
I'm not sure.
It hasn't opened yet.
520 Park Avenue.
Oh, you're talking about 520, yes. No, it is inhabited.
What is it now?
520 Park Avenue, the old Hosher Cohn warehouse.
It used to be.
Used to be Hosher Cohn's. It's now an apartment building.
Apartment building.
And it is inhabited.
Any other questions of the commissioner?
So you've reopened?
Today's the first day, yeah.
So
So it's been a trying week this week, yes.
I understand. I mean, the last photo that I saw, everything was boarded up, and I don't know
Yeah,
whether.
it's still boarded up, so, you know, I've got to get the windows put back in. It's going to take time because they're special windows. That's what they tell me, double pane and everything else, so. It's going to take at least 2 more weeks, so I'm going to have to live with, you know, the boarding up, so there's nothing more I can do with that.
Yeah, okay.
Well, if you got Pasquale there, they wouldn't have dared to do it.
Well, that's the only person I had to hold back because he was ready to come down, you know, but I said, calm down, Mr. Pat. Everything's going to be fine.
Good.
All right, no other
Good.
questions?
Good.
None? All right, I think I got the following in all the exhibits. Is that okay?
Are we to keep this,
Yes,
or
from
That's-
how
that's
how
your-
are we
that's
going to
yours.
share
No,
this?
You can have my part.
Don't make equal copies of watching.
All right, all exhibits are in. Is that true?
I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, did I say
I
that?
believe all exhibits are in.
Sometimes I forget whether I do
Yes,
it
sir,
or not.
all exhibits
All
are.
right, I'm ready to vote. I vote yes.
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 You have our decision.
Thank you. Thank you
Best
very
of
much.
luck to you. Yep.
Let me know when you're ready.
Oh, yes. Here's your, oh, thank you. We'll give you the receipt when you leave. I kept it, right? Oh, wait, let me see.
Do you want me to call it?
Oh, I got it, I'll call it. Okay. Here we go. Let me just call this 1 second. Mike Matassa, Alchemy LLC. This is at 1011 West 36th Street, a Class B, beer, wine, and liquor, transfer of ownership.
All right, licensee's here, and you're Esquire? Are you an attorney?
I'm his business partner, the licenses.
Yeah. But you're not an attorney?
No.
All right, swear the witnesses.
Raise your right hands, please. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this hearing will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Please speak one at a time, one person only.
Yes.
Move over to the mic. Now, who's going to speak first?
I'm
All right, your name, sir, ma'am,
Deborah Bell Matassa,
and your address?
is 1819 Ridgecroft Drive, Forest Hill, Maryland,
I'd be glad to hear
21050.
from you. I'd be glad to hear from you. This is a transfer of ownership.
Yes.
All right, is this, explain it to us. Wait,
Give-
I don't know,
Giving 100% ownership, I'm giving my part of my liquor license to my
It's
husband.
really just taking a person off?
Yes, taking a person
That's
off.
what it's all about.
That's all.
All right. Sir, your name
Michael Matassa,
and your address?
412 Southway,
412 what?
Southway.
Southway.
Mhm.
All right, did you have anything you wish to say?
No, it's just a simple transfer.
Okay, transfer, and questions to commissioners? Any questions?
No just, I mean, is the license in use now? It's,
And we've been in business for almost 5 years.
okay, and you've been in continuous operation, there are no issues there? Oh, yeah, one at a time. So it's in use, it'll continue in use, correct?
Correct.
Yes, okay.
It's 100% operating 4.5 years. We're going forward. We're just a relationship, so I've moved, I'm in Hartford County, he's in Baltimore City.
Okay,
We're continuing to run it as a business partners, but I'm relinquishing the business license to him.
okay, got it.
How many, I'm curious, it has nothing to do with this case, but how many licenses are there in that block, the 1000 block now? Must be, it's so successful, I can't believe it.
We've turned into Restaurant Row there
Yes.
Camden, so
I think I counted 30-something in at 36th Street one time.
I don't think we have quite that many.
Not many.
liquor licenses. I think it's like 13. And then we have 2 little liquor stores and stuff, but,
In the block.
yes.
I meant
But then we have all the ones that have grown up around us as well. So lots of restaurant choices.
Unbelievable, really.
It is
So this is the Avenue?
the avenue.
Okay, all right. I think he's right.
I used to like the Hand of News years ago. Had a lot of fun with that.
What didn't you do?
Exactly my
I mean, was that your thought as well? He's done everything. You don't have to report it. This is just.
I'm not going to tell you what I didn't do. All right,
You guys realize we're in the hearing, in the middle of the hearing?
I so apologize.
all right, the file is Exhibit 1, and there's no other questions. I vote yes.
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 All right, you have our decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you
Best
for
of
your
luck to you. Heartfelt. You know what you're going through.
All right, just let us know when you're ready.
$100, which is $100 check. Yeah, next
Ready?
one is, yep, Brian Masovich and Kevin Hoff, Gypsy Vape Cafe LLC, trade name Gypsy Vape Pub. This is at 1400 Key Highway, a Class D beer, wine, and liquor, transfer of ownership from a secured creditor, and a request for outdoor seating.
For the record, Melvin J. Kaninsky, representing the applicants.
All right, do you have any testimony? Swear the witnesses.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right, here for you first, sir.
This will be a transfer of the license from the secured creditor who is here, Mr. Maskovich, and is also going to stay on this license to the 2 individuals to operate an establishment. They have met with the Riverside Improvement Association, and I think email and a letter of approval came in this morning. I think we need to Ms. Hedgepath a copy of the letter of approval. It's a 6-day license, 6 a.m. to 1 a.m., closed on Sundays. The individuals have experience in the business, been operated as a, there's another copy here, I don't know. You have it? Okay. I'm sorry.
All right, Exhibit 1 to file. Exhibit 2, the Riverside Improvement Association letter. Any other exhibits?
Not this time. I don't know if we hear testimony from the applicants. I understand, and I don't want to jump in this lady's case here, is that she's asking for a postponement, and I'm not, is that right, Ms. Fitchburg?
Yes, ma'am, yes, sir.
All right, well, you finish your case.
Yeah, I submit a copy of the menu also that they're going to have there. It's going to be, excuse me, a little restaurant there. If you know where it is on Key Highway, it's right across the street from, where the Ritz-Carlton and the other development is there. side street.
Exhibit 3, I believe it is.
Webster, actually listed, it sits down below, down, and then they have 2 apartments on Webster Street, Key Highway, Webster.
All right, any questions, commissioners, of the licensees?
Mr. Masterovich is going to stay on the license,
That's correct.
and you're the secured creditor?
Yes, ma'am.
My question is whether you're on any other license in the city of Baltimore?
I'm not.
Okay,
I've been on this license since 2010,
okay.
and I transferred it actually to the sushi place, 2. We heard about sushi
No,
place
it's
3.
Sushi 1, Sushi 2, Sushi 3.
Maybe we
Too much
should-
sushi.
Well, we hear what everything that's said. But you're not on any other license? That was my only question. Okay.
All right, now, your name, ma'am?
My name is John Broadbent, President of the Key Highway Community Association.
Jenna?
President of Key Highway Improvement Association,
Community Association,
Community Association.
And could you spell your name, your first name?
J-A-N-A-N.
BROADBENT.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, I'd be glad to hear from you, ma'am.
Our community is strongly opposed to the vape pub. both
Strongly opposed to what?
To the vape pub. This is a vape pub, Chairman, and,
A vape?
yes.
What is that?
Maybe the owners can explain it to you. This is somewhat similar to, or maybe the same thing as e-cigarettes. So my understanding, I did talk with one of the
Yeah,
owners.
that's vape, V-A-P-E.
Correct.
And what's the next word?
P-U-B.
P-U-B.
I think the name is Gypsy Vape Pub and Lounge. This is right on Key Highway, not 100% directly, but very, very close to the Harborview community, the
Now, the
Ritz-Carlton.
Gypsy Vape Pub and Lounge, who is that? This place? That's your
Yes.
name?
Mhm.
Okay.
The opposition comes in 2 reasons. One is we just do not feel that this is appropriate to the area. There is a vape supplies sale place on Light Street. But this place, my understanding from the owner, is that they will be selling supplies as well as people being able to vape in the pub. And the second reason is we would like to see a successful establishment at this location. There have been failures there. And at this location, there have been failures there. There was sushi. Yes, meaning businesses did not succeed there. Sushi place was one of them. It closed recently. So we think that this has very narrow attraction to a younger group of people. Our residents have expressed concern that there may be public nuisance issues that may come up. Now, I invited,
I want to make sure we get up all the facts in the record. He says he's owned the place since 2010. Didn't I hear you say that?
No, sir. So I owned a property, 1120 East Ford Avenue. That license transferred to 1400 Key Highway. I've been on the license, sir, since 2010.
But how long have you been at this location? This is new. This is it.
This is new, yes.
I see. So you haven't been at that location at all? Clarify.
What was, the sushi place was there for how long?
18 months.
All right. And the sushis were, there was a bunch of gentlemen, a group of gentlemen, and they start opening sushi places. Sushi 1, Sushi 2, Sushi 3. The one you heard before was the one on Lexington Street that was a Sushi 2. This might be Sushi 3 or vice versa. As a result of which, they had a falling out, as I understand it, among the group, and then they just shut all the places down, and Mr. Masterovich took it back as a secure party.
All right, so explain, so that we understand what she's talking about. I want to get all the facts in the record before I open it up to questions. What is your response to what she says?
As to, they have met when,
Well, she says that you're going to have vapor.
Well, I think it-
Things to me, and this name, Vapor Pub and Lounge?
yeah, it's, I guess it's a corollary to my Skype routine that I found out about electronic cigarettes afterwards. When I grew up, it was just all cigars and cigarettes. Now, maybe I'll have one of the licensees explain it to you, probably easier, because I don't own anything there. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
Richard Willard, 6652 Aspern Drive.
All right.
Where?
Aspern Drive in Oak Ridge. So basically, we own 2 electronic cigarette stores, one very successful in Catonsville and in Fort Meade. After retiring from the Baltimore City Police, I opened Gertrude Grilled Cheese Truck, and we won 2 awards, City Paper's Best Food Truck in Baltimore, Baltimore Magazine's Best Food Truck. We want to come back into the community where we worked and where we've lived prior and build something. We want to have a successful business. We're in touch with the community. We sat down with the River Hill Association. They like our plan. Our menu is based similarly around my food truck that we had. And if you remember the place, I don't know if you remember it, Judge Ward, it used to be the old Rodents. Years ago, it was a police bar right across from Little Havanas, the old Rodents. And we're opening that up, and we have a lot of support from the community from that area. We're not by any means any type of hookah type establishment that rents hookahs.
What about her allegation that
it's
you're going to
the-
sell supplies out of the place?
Yeah. I just didn't want to start talking over you, that's all. Go ahead.
I understand.
Are you gonna be selling-
The store is Gypsy Vape and Pub. It's not how it was presented. And we're going to be selling electronic cigarette components out of the store, more of a higher-end electronic cigarettes. I know she voiced concerns about juveniles from the school coming in and purchasing. We're both retired police. We don't play that game. We haven't had that problem in our other stores. Everyone has to be 21 or up to come in to purchase things. And she mentioned a successful business. Our electronic cigarette stills, and they're basically batteries and tops to them. A lot of bars currently sell in Baltimore electronic cigarettes, hookah pens out of the restaurant, because it is legal at this point. And it's a revenue stream. And if she wants something successful that gives back to the community, people that'll be in the community to support the community, this is a positive flow. Downtown Diane, City Peak Patty, they're both going to promote our business and everything that we do to draw in people with the outdoor seating. In the summertime, we want to have the community. We've had a lot of people come by with their dogs, talking to us, and welcoming us into the community and saying they're looking forward to sitting down outside and eating, enjoying a meal, coming in and eating. It's deceiving with the name Gypsy Vape and Pub, but it's how we're known as. And we have a lot of people that are followers that want to come down and come into the city and spend their money and enjoy the city down in that area.
Wait, ma'am, do you have any questions you want to ask him? Questions, not speech, but questions. Do you have anything you want to ask him?
Will you come to our next meeting, which is on May 13th, and present it to the community? Because this is the community that is concerned about it and would love to hear from you and alleviate any concerns that they have.
I would love to come and speak with them, like we spoke on the phone about. I received the one email from you, and I appreciate it. And I replied back with our menu and with different things.
Now, you understand that his agreeing to come to your community meeting is not going to cause us to postpone this case. To listen to what happens at the community, we're going on with the case.
I understand. I am here to convey the community sentiment that they just do not feel that this is appropriate for our community, that they have concerns about it. Any establishment with food, outside tables, that's welcome. We support all the local businesses, but a vape pub, and gentleman mentioned somebody with the dogs. Yes, I have an email from that party that says exactly what I just said, that they are fine with food, but they just do not want to see a vape pub practically across from our community on Key Highway.
To be honest with you, I'm new at this vape pub, whatever this is. I'm always caught by all this new technology all the time. Maybe another reason why I should get off the board, because, but anyway, I'm going to open it up for questions from my commissioners, and maybe to develop this subject, I don't know. All right, quick question.
I just have two questions. First of all, you say you talked to folks in the community and they approve what you're doing there.
We've had a lot
Do you
of
have anything in writing to support that?
Besides Riverhill, which,
Riverside, we had submitted that to you.
besides Riverside, we went and spoke with their.
Yeah, can I just show it to them? Like,
Association to talk to, and that's who we went and met with. We didn't realize, because they're a little ways away from us,
All right,
the tower.
And my second question is, the items that you wish to sell there, the vape supplies and related items, do you, have you going to zoning and get a permit for those items?
We have that approval from them.
How much of your business is revolving around selling? I
Oh,
mean,
the-
is this
the vape supplies?
primarily a
It's
restaurant,
primarily a
bar, or-
restaurant,
huh?
primarily a I'm sorry.
Is this primarily a bar, or is this primarily a sales, or is it, I mean, what is your expectation with respect to percentage of income?
Primarily a pub and and a restaurant. That's the primary business. The electronic cigarette sales is just another stream of revenue to make sure we, survive.
Any other questions?
I want to talk about the license itself. You're transferring a license as a secure creditor. That looks like it was last used in September 2014.
Yes.
And then there was a hardship application dated February 12. And I'm not seeing what the action was on the hardship application.
We held it for several, because there was, it changed into a secured creditor, and they'd already submitted the application to you in that period of time, so the
Submitted what
This
application?
application
Mhm.
for the transfer. So the application for transfer came in early March, and by the time we were scheduling it, they had an application in, so that's the reason why you never saw the hardship. But we do have the hardship on file, and we have the letter in the file.
My question is whether this license is even viable for transfer.
Well, it would be viable, because the last date of operation would be September. They submitted in
September what?
of 2014.
What's the date?
September 1st
Or the
was-
30th?
We actually had, and I
You guys
believe
went and-
we had a inspection on September 1st, and that's what's noted in the file as well, because our inspector did go out there.
So it was open on September 1st, and you're saying that it was closed September 17th?
I sent a letter to the honorable judge here on September 12th,
Asking for what?
notifying the board that I'm the secured creditor because they defaulted on my loan with them, the existing licensees, and knowing that they were out of business at that time,
As of September 12th?
as of September 12th, yes.
And then there was an application for hardship.
In February, I've been in contact with Michelle for many months now, going through this process, and we went through the secured creditor process to get everything in my name, so we wouldn't have any problems transferring. And in that time, we notified the board in the proper 180-day limit in February, and at the same time, I was able to work out getting somebody, because at the same time, you have to get somebody to kind of take over the license if they're going to operate it. And I met these gentlemen, and we were able to come in with an application.
Okay. What do you know about these gentlemen?
What do I know about these gentlemen?
Because the question is the character of
Agreed.
the transferees. And I've not heard any testimony except that they're retired police officers, and that's not enough. So what
Okay.
do we know about what do you know about these gentlemen?
So what I know about these gentlemen is I've lived in Locust Point for 13 years,
Mhm.
and Officer Butterbean is our...
Which one is Officer Bardemine?
Butterbean, I'm sorry. He's our
Who's-
representative.
Wait a minute.
He's not
let
here,
me-
but, sorry.
One at a time. Who is Officer Butterbean, and is that his actual name?
That's his last name.
That's the name that his parents, that's his given name, Butterbean? It sounds like a nickname. That's what, his name is Officer Butterbean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I called them and actually asked before I even negotiated any kind of deal with them, and he gave me his word. They're retired policemen. He knew them very well. He knew of their character.
And what have you done, other than get an A-OK from Officer Butterbean, who's not here,
So
that
in-
these potential licensees are fit to own a license in Baltimore City?
So I personally, I work on Fort Meade. I've stopped in the Fort Meade store. I've stopped in the Catonsville store. I've also stopped in and gone through the whole entire process over the last 2 months since they took over the lease from the actual owner of the property, and they're getting the restaurant up. We've been going through,
And you're the owner of the property?
no, I'm not.
You're not?
I'm the owner of the license.
Okay. You own other property in Baltimore,
Yes, ma'am.
and you're staying on the license at 1% so
Yes.
that they meet the qualification of having somebody on the license who's a Baltimore resident, correct?
Twofold, yes. The
And you
other thing is-
want to protect your investment and make sure you get paid for the license?
Correct. They've also been running bars since 2010, and this is new for them. Their other stores don't have that. But he's been running, Mr. Willard, as he testified, been running restaurants, so it was a good fit for all of us to get.
Mr. Who testified about running
Mr.
restaurants?
Willard used to have, Richard, used to have the
The Gypsy?
the food car and everything else, yes, and now we're gonna use that menu at the restaurant.
Okay. So I'm familiar with the Gypsy food truck. Is that the, hold on. Is the Gypsy food truck the same or something different? Do you know? Hold on. Do you know? No, I want to know if you know. Okay, so let's go to you, and you tell me the difference.
Anne-Marie and Tom are good friends of mine that own Gypsy Queen. I owned what's called Gertrude Gourmet Grilled Cheese, Grrche. It was the gourmet grilled cheese truck we started 2011, right as I retired from the police department.
Okay.
Anything else? Commissioner?
Let me go back to you, Mr. Mastrovich. What else do you know about the license, the other gentleman? What is his name? To the right of Mr. Hoff?
Kevin? Yeah, Mr. Hoff, yeah.
Okay.
First time I met Kevin, that's,
Is today?
no.
Oh.
When we went through over the last 2 months, going through the process and meeting him, we've been working at the restaurant, getting it out to snuff, everything
So,
else.
Mr. Hoff, could you just raise your hand? All right. So what is Mr. Hoff's background, and what do you know about Mr. Hoff, and what qualifies him to own a liquor license in Baltimore?
So Mr. Hoff has been running the other businesses. So this will be a new experience for him.
So Mr. Hoff has been running the vape business,
Correct.
and he's not had a restaurant, not had a liquor license.
You can ask him. I'm not sure.
No, I mean,
Yeah, yes.
what I want to know is what you know.
Yes.
Because you're transferring to
Mhm.
people, and I think that you would have done some due diligence, and I just want to get the benefit of your own due diligence, if you've done any. If you
well-
haven't, fine.
So, but I'm not transferring to people, right? I'm still going to help them, and it's just me and Kevin.
And so you're bringing them on.
Yes. No, Mr. Willard is not going to be on the license. It's only Kevin and I.
So it's just Mr. Hoff and you.
Yes, ma'am.
So Mr. Hoff is the one that runs the vape business, but has no restaurant business, no liquor license business, is not a Baltimore resident, and you don't know very much about him, correct?
Correct.
And so now we don't know much about him, right? You see where I'm going?
Okay.
You see the problem?
I don't see a problem, no.
Well, the question when we're trying to approve a transfer of a license is the character of the potential licensee. And if you're not able to tell us from the benefit of your own due diligence anything about the licensee, then there's a hole there, and it needs to be filled. So I think we should talk to Mr. Hoff and see what he has to say.
State your name and address.
Kevin Hoff, 2033 Amber Way, Windsor Mill, Maryland, 21244.
Okay, can you tell us why you believe you're qualified to own a liquor license in Baltimore City?
I am a retired police officer. I want to give back to this community. I was retired due to an injury in this community. I lived in Baltimore City for many, many years in Butchers Hill. I love Baltimore City. The only reason that I'm not living in Baltimore is that I was able to procure an officer next door house in Baltimore County, but I do have plans to move back into the city. What would you like to know?
So the only information we have, you live Amber Way, and that's in Baltimore County.
Yes, ma'am.
And then all the answers to the standard questions. I guess what I would want to know is about your experience in running a restaurant and a bar.
I have very limited experience in running a restaurant. However, my business partner and I, he has a lot of experience. This is a brand new type of business for me. I understand running other types of businesses, but I've actually never run a restaurant.
Okay. What is your plan with respect to being present at the location?
I will be present at the location a lot.
Okay, will you be there every day?
I can be there every day. I work 7 days a week, 12-hour days at my other businesses.
All right, and your partner who, between the two of you, will be there on a day-to-day basis?
Both of
Who will
us
be
there
running the
on a
business?
day-to-day basis, both of us.
Okay. You wanted to add something?
We've set up our other vape stores at this point with general managers. We both, for the last year and a half with the other two stores, have been working 7 days a week with very limited days off. We've set up both of those stores with general managers now. We're freed up 100%, starting hopefully our opening day on May 11th, to both of us being there. And I've told my partner, we're very dedicated. I worked as a detective sergeant in the Southern District. I handled homicide, shootings. We're dedicated to being there for the long haul. We're going to be there from open to close. We're not hiring a manager. This is going to be us running it and making sure it's protected and the community's served.
All right.
Anything else?
Is this more vape than pub?
It's more pub and more bar. It's going to have a limited selection of purchase of vape supplies, similar to a lot of bars in the city. We just went with the name Gypsy Vape and Pub because people know us through social media. Through Gypsy Vape, we have about 5,000 followers that support from the Fort Meade military base and from the Catonsville area that will want to know and come down and possibly purchase stuff when they're driving through the city, stop and have dinner at the pub.
Okay. Okay, thank
Right.
you.
Ready? All right, ready for a decision. With respect to this issue before us, there's no law that I know of prohibiting the vapor pub type of operation from what I've heard in this testimony. Maybe there should be, I don't know. I'm not, I've said right from the beginning, as chairmanship of this, I'm sworn to carry out the law, not to substitute what I think should be done. So I understand perfectly your possible concerns, Ms. Broadbent, but I'm not sure what authority I have at this time to prohibit it. The only real issue before us is whether or not they should have outdoor table service and whether or not these new owners are capable of properly running it. I've heard no adverse testimony whatsoever. Therefore, I vote yes.
Yes.
I vote no.
All right, we have our decision.
And I would just add, looking at your Facebook page, there's like 1,400 people that like you. So I don't
We have
know.
multiple Gypsy Vape pages.
Mhm. So
and
you,
there's
I'm
also
not, you
Maryland
combine
Vapor
them?
groups.
Case is
There's also
over
Maryland.
with, folks.
Okay.
All right, call, are you ready? Let us know.
1 second. Go in order, obviously it's the same bar.
We're going to do the renewal first, Your Honor? Yeah.
Yeah,
And then the transfer.
well, which one do you have call? I have
I have the protest.
Goodfellas.
Yeah, the protest first.
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
sir.
So just
Ready?
label 1 protest, 1 transfer. Goodfellas protest.
Hang on, let's draw it. What are you gonna do?
It's been withdrawn.
Well, we have to wait.
No, this says pass over, will give you the specifics, that is, to it, i.e.
So you're gonna do, the first one will be the protest of renewal.
Yes. Yes, sir. The protest will go first.
All right, call the case.
Ellie Niger, 4919 Bel Air Road. This is Goodfellas Bar and Grill, located at 1419 Bel Air Road, a Class B beer, wine, and liquor, a protest of renewal under 2B 10301A. Chairman, I did receive a copy of an agreement from the Neighborhood Association and the new owners, which is your second transfer, and they have now agreed to withdraw their motion, their protest of renewal based on that
Where is it?
agreement.
You say you received it?
Yes, I'm going to hand it to you. They just
Do I
gave it to me
have it?
today. No, I'm handing it to you now. Right there, sir.
Commissioner, seen this?
No, it was just signed by the parties at 10:30 this morning, sir.
I have an extra copy I can give to each one of you, can look at it. I mean, it's unexecuted, but
Okay, let's get started. First of all, enter your appearance.
for the record, Melvin J. Kaninsky representing the current licensee, and I'd like to state that over a
You're
period,
going to have testimony.
not really, unless the board has some
Better
questions.
Swear everybody in, swear everybody in.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony? Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're giving in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right, Ms. Kadinsky,
At the
bring us up to date.
pushing of the board, and Mr. Silberger, who's been very gracious in the thing, representing the community, we had sat down and worked out an agreement between the Frankfurt Improvement Association, Valley Park Community Association, and Harbell Community Association.
Now, where's Mr. Silberger?
He had, where did he went, to PG County?
He had an appointment in Silver Springs, and he asked to be excused.
He was
He's
just,
the one that tried to settle this case with you, and him, and who was the third party? I can't remember.
I think you were there.
I was there.
You told me you would tell me something I didn't like, and I said, that's usually what you do.
All right, so Mr. Silberger is in agreement now.
Right. I had drawn the agreement up. He had.
This is the agreement.
Right, and he had made it, and he witnessed the signatures of the community groups, and this is the agreement that,
And
upon
what
the.
is your agreement?
The agreement is that, set out in the MOU that you have in your hand there, that they withdraw their right to protest, and they do not protest the renewal, the transfer, upon the board agreeing, and the new licensees agree to this
Stop.
agreement.
First of all, they are not any longer protesting the renewal of this license.
Correct.
Okay, that's number one. And what's number two?
Number two is that they are not protesting the transfer.
Okay, and this is all contained in this agreement I have here.
Everything is in there, set down.
All right, I only have one copy, is that right?
That's only one copy that was, I gave the other commissioners copies that are unsigned, that's the one that's signed for the file.
All right, so you have a copy.
Yes, I do.
All right. The file is is Exhibit 1, and the agreement is Exhibit 2. All right, go ahead, sir.
And that would be all the testimony with regard to the protest renewal, and that has now been withdrawn. The second phase of the two licensees that are here.
We gotta call that separately.
No, but I'm saying that I'm finished with the protest and renewal. Thank you,
Go
Madam
ahead.
Secretary.
Go ahead.
I'm finished.
Any testimony? Questions of commissioners?
Who is the gentleman that's here?
He's the
You.
current licensee.
You're
Mr.
the-
Niger, which is here.
Okay.
He's being protested.
Okay. So is it your understanding that, I mean, there were significant problems that were asserted or complaints that were asserted by the surrounding neighbors? And is it your understanding that those complaints have been heard and considered and addressed and resolved?
I think that was the sum and substance, and in fact, it's very propitious that we mentioned to you that pursuant to the chairman, we met actually on Election Day in November and went through all the terms here, and one of the things that was brought up, Mr. Nager primarily lives in New York now, and he wanted to go back to New York, and they wanted to get somebody who was a hands-on person there. So Mr. Uzo is there. He's with the Bank of America. He's met with the people. He's the first person to get a hold of. So it was felt that, you know, if they got through this agreement and everybody agreed and it was transferred, then it'd be best that Mr. Nager could then go back to New York, and they would be the hands-on people, and they have, I've talked to
Mr.
them.
Nager would go back to New York.
To New York, right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and what did you say after that?
And that the applicants would be the, you know, hands-on people that are there every day.
And who are they?
The two people that are here right here.
Well, their names.
Well, get to the microphone here.
Tell
They
us
need
your
to be
name and how you spell it.
sworn.
Uzo, first name Uzio, last name is Nwosu, Nwosu.
And this will be a little tougher one for you.
Yes, my name is Obiefule Uwadineke. First
Spell
name,
it slowly.
first name Obiefule. Last name Uwadineke.
You get that? Okay. All right. Now, go ahead. Tell
So
us.
that was the sum.
So they're gonna be the operators.
Yeah, upon the transfer of the operator, they're the ones that will be bound by the agreement because the license expires as of today. And then if you approve the transfer, then the new operator. And if you look on the ones that I had submitted to the commissioners, it's not on yours, but we had given them a copy of the license, a copy of the menu, a copy of the trash, removal, and also signs that we're gonna put about respecting the neighborhood and so forth. So that is all there. I can give you this, Mr. Chairman, because Mr. Silberger did not have his attached, but it doesn't add anything to the agreement other than that's what was sent to them.
So they're familiar with this
They're
entire.
familiar, and so is Mr. Silberger. I sent everything to him. I think we wore out our emails.
I know you've been talking about this for a long time.
I'm fine, sir.
But, you want it?
I'm fine.
You have it?
Yeah, we got it.
I think, do you want this back?
I don't think it's on the original, though. I mean,
Okay, we'll put it as part, that'll be part of the file.
Okay.
Our exhibit attached to the file
Uh-huh.
is an exhibit. I don't see it, no.
Yeah, I just raised it.
She has to make
All right. All right, any other questions? Commissioners?
I have none. I mean,
No.
The agreement speaks for itself.
None.
Well, let me say, sir, since you're coming into this location, if people complain about how you operate, you're gonna come back before us, you understand? I'm not in any way threatening you or worrying you. I'm just telling you because this bar has been a source of problem for a long time. And I hope this means it won't be a source of problem again. You understand why? Okay. No other questions? I vote yes.
This is for renewal, correct?
For renewal.
Protest or renewal, I vote yes. That's what we're voting on. And your vote?
Yes, that means that me throwing it out.
Yes to renew.
Yes,
Is
to
that-
renew, yes. All right, now, to take up that is approved.
And then for the
Now we're on the issue of the transfer of ownership. Call the question.
Uzo Nawazi, Oflivi, I'm just going to say.
All right, Commissioner Jones has a question.
Yes.
No, not to them. The comment you made.
Me?
No. They was voting yes to renewal. Now we're going to the renewal. So
That's right,
No, now we're going to the
To transfer.
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 I'm reading the transfer.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
The
fine.
license is renewed, now we're going to the transfer.
I'm good.
Okay. You call the case.
I'll try it again. Uzo Nawasi and Ofami. I'm sorry, sir, I'm gonna mess up your name. This is Uzo LLC. This is Goodfellows Lounge, 4919 Bel Air Road, a Class B application for transfer of ownership.
This would be a transfer of the ownership, and in this case, subject to the agreement which the new licensees have signed and bound themselves. If you don't mind, I'll ask them if they understand it for the record and they know they're bound by the terms and conditions. That's all right with you, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
You state your, we sworn them in, yeah.
Swear the witnesses separately in this
Oh,
case. Swear
all
the
right.
witnesses.
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
Uzo Nawasi, 2017 Roxbury Road, Huntington Road, 21237.
Now, you're familiar with this agreement that we just entered into on behalf of your LLC and yourself, is that correct?
That's correct.
And we went over all these terms and conditions and talked with Mr. Silberger and people in the community, is that correct?
That's correct.
You understand that you're going to be bound by these terms and conditions primarily because of the past history, and you're agreeing to be bound by the terms and conditions of this agreement.
That's correct.
And you've reached out to people in the community and people behind you, other than one of the neighbors, most everybody else, you've had a one-on-one conversation with, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, and you're going to be there, and as far as, you have positions with Bank of America and Hewlett Packard and so forth, is that correct?
That's correct.
So you've been in management positions, is that correct?
Yes.
And as for regard to being there, you're actually going to be on the premises, is that correct?
Every day.
Rather than, with Mr. Nigger was traveling back and forth, but you would be there. In fact, you've been there the last several months with this menu and so forth, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right,
Anything else?
nothing, brother.
All right, question of the commissioners.
If I'm recalling from reading the file last week, there were a lot of concerns about transferring, I believe it was to you, because you're the person who's actually been present and managing the bar for some time. correct?
They thought it was me, but it wasn't.
They thought it was you, but it's not. Who was it?
We look alike, so.
Oh, I see great distinctions. So, all right, so you've not been present, you've not been managing the bar, is that?
No, I go there, a couple times a week, but I'm not there every day.
All right, so were you going there as a patron, or were you going there as a part of the management team?
That's part of the management.
Okay, all right, so you're well aware of the problems. One of the things that I read that was most troubling was that there were complaints about noise, and then someone from the management team actually went to a person's house late at night, banged on the door, and demanded to discuss the issue at that time.
That is incorrect.
That didn't happen?
It did not happen.
Okay, and that
No,
won't,
they-
and that won't happen,
No.
because that was really troubling to me, that there was that much of a, all right.
Let me address that. I got a text from Eli that the lady Kim complained about loud music. So I called her on the phone. I was with him. Walked over to her house. I called her on the phone. She came out, right? I gave her my card. I'm like, this is what I've heard, you know? And I'm like, where we're standing right now, I can't hear any music. And she just jumped off.
So
And
you have very good counsel, you know that if there are problems, you know how to
Absolutely.
deal with it going forward,
Yes.
and you will listen to your attorney, who I know gives good advice, and you'll manage the problems, and you'll avoid the problems. All right, thank you.
Just one easy question. The management team, are you bringing the same managers from the past along with you to manage the future of this business?
it's just me and him. It really isn't-
Was he part of the problem the last time?
No.
He wasn't? Okay.
No, absolutely not.
And can we just get his name for the record, please? We
Who,
keep
his name?
referring to him,
Oh,
and
his name is
you,
on, it's on the agreement too.
all right, just tell me his name, that's all, I don't need his
Namso
testimony.
Okonkwo.
And just say it slow and then spell it.
Nomso, Nomso, Okonkwo, Okonkwo.
Okay, thank you.
Also known as Rocky.
As Rocky?
Yeah,
As in
AKA.
Balboa?
Oh.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you.
All right, any other questions of commissioners? Nobody? All right, time for decision, I vote yes.
I vote yes.
Yes.
All right, you have our decision.
Just open him.
I'm not sure, this goes in which file?
I'll put in the transfer, which is right in front of
We
you,
off
sir.
record?
Yes.
Oh, hey, gentlemen, by the way, this place is close to where I live. I'll be looking.
Please do.
Just for the record.
Yes, sir.
What is that?
It's close to where I live, so I'll be looking.
I live there too.
Well, with Rocky, you run into Ballwinkle, and then maybe Natasha, and Bart Snotnoff.
How are you not so funny now? That other one was better.
I'm still on? Oh, they cut me off. My cousin Stasha knows, he'll call.
Have you finished for today?
No, we have another one.
No, what page is this one?
So Eastern Avenue is
Is at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock? All right, we stand at,
Several for 1 o'clock places will be.
stand at recess to 1 o'clock in the case of,
Let us out of here.
wait a minute, please.
We're still on the record.
Wilkins Avenue, is that all, or because of the police officers?
Hold on one second, sir. Wilkins Avenue is the only one that's still on, because
That is on.
that's the
All
control
right,
case.
and how about 2000 Eastern Avenue?
That is still on as well.
And that's it?
That's it.
Okay. All right, we're in recess.
Thank you, sir. For Brian Grace and Paul Gunshaw, free Fireball Entertainment, Inc., the Big Easy Cabaret, located at 2000 Eastern Avenue. This is on the adult entertainment license, a protest of renewal under Baltimore City Code, adult entertainment, Article 15, 1 through 14. So this is in this case, we were talking about their adult entertainment license, sir.
Yes. All right, enter your parents, please.
Becky Witt on behalf
Wait a
of,
minute.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Peter Reeves on behalf of the licensees.
All right, now,
Becky Witt on behalf of the Fells Prospect Community Association.
okay. We only have one witness?
We have a few on this side.
Okay, swear all witnesses, please.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right, because it's a protest of renewal, I'll start with you, Ms. Witt.
Mr. Chairman, I have certain objections. I don't know whether you want me to make those now.
Yeah, if you have a general motion,
Yes. First of all, this matter was called for.
and your name for the record.
Peter Priebus on behalf of the licensees.
The hearing was docketed for a protest of renewal of an adult entertainment license. There is,
Comment this case,
yes, there is no such petition before the board. There is only a petition for a protest of renewal of the liquor license.
Well, the liquor license is divided into two parts.
No,
An
they're just-
adult,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
There are two licenses. There's a liquor license
Yeah.
and an adult entertainment license.
Right.
You can have a liquor license without an adult entertainment license. You can have an adult entertainment license without a liquor license.
yes, that's true.
The provisions in Article
What is your
15.
point? That's what I'm not,
There is no petition before the board, so there shouldn't be a hearing.
all right, Ms. Witt, what is he talking about?
He's referring to the petition itself, which says that they're protesting the renewal of the liquor license. And then it lists several violations of the liquor law and liquor regulations. Then it also lists several violations of the adult entertainment code.
Well, let me say that nobody's prescribed from bringing in anything they want to bring in a community hearing, which is what I've said over and over again, these are. So the fact that she may be starting from scratch today, she doesn't have to have a written document with the proper language, huh?
I believe she does.
Okay, well, then that's your motion. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me hear from him and then I'll hear from you. I'm gonna find out what the motion is.
Okay. First, the facts. The petition says, petition for public hearing of Board of Liquor License Commission for Baltimore City.
We, the undersigned residents, businesses, and concerned organizations are protesting the renewal of the liquor license, for the business known as the Big Easy located at 2000 Eastern Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21231, to include but not limited to the following. Then it lists Liquor Board Rule 3.12, Liquor Board Rule 4.12, Liquor Board Rule 4.18, Article 2B, Section 10-401A3, little 3I, Adult Entertainment Rule 8A, which I couldn't
Have
find.
what you're reading, I don't know
It's
where
right
you.
here, sir.
Huh?
It's the attached. This is what he's reading right now. He's reading this.
Oh, okay, I'll go back to it, you keep it.
Okay.
Excuse me, go ahead, I just didn't know where you were.
Your Honor, I read the first paragraph, and then I'm not reading every recitation of the rules. There's 1, 2, 3.
You wanna adopt them?
Not, I'm just explaining.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it recites a Liquor Board Adult Entertainment Rule 8A and an Adult Entertainment Rule 14.4. But it doesn't say we are protesting the renewal of the adult entertainment license anywhere in this document.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why couldn't they do it right this second?
Because they need 10 days' notice and they need an actual petition signed by, not under the Article 2B section of 10 residents in the immediate vicinity, but 10 residents or property owners in the same voting precinct.
So this one is on the other hearing.
Yes. The other thing, Your Honor.
That's what you're pointing out.
Yes, there's a second part. The adult entertainment license runs from July 1 to June 30. The liquor license runs from May 1 to April 30.
The adult entertainment statute states that a renewal shall be filed not earlier than 60 days and not later than 30 days before the renewal of the license. So that is May 1, tomorrow, to May 31.
The licensee hasn't even submitted a 2015 adult entertainment license renewal application for which there could be a protest.
Now, it could be argued that it could be protested at any time, but there's not even an application before the board yet.
Well, I think the protest of renewal is different than just a protest. You're not saying that.
No, Your Honor. If the board, if this were a violation hearing of some sort, then I think that's what you're saying, and I agree with you, if it were a violation hearing. But a protest of renewal, there has to be a renewal application to be protested, and then follow the ordinance, 10 signatures on a petition that specifically states, we protest the renewal of the adult entertainment license in the voting precinct.
And it has to be 10 days before the hearing.
And 10 days notice before the, yeah. Persons that vote at Lemco Center are not in the voting precinct. Persons that vote at General George B. Wolfe are in the voting precinct. And some are, some aren't. But be that as it may, I don't think there's any petition before this board. If there's going to be a violation hearing, I totally understand. If there's going to be a protest of renewal after the renewal has been filed, I totally understand.
All right, now let's see what this wit says, and I'll let you respond to her. Go ahead, ma'am.
All right, so if you look at what the code says in section 1-14, it says, if before the end of the renewal period, 1-14, I have a copy just at the top of my packet. I don't know if you want to look at it. It's just the copy of the law.
What is all the rest of these papers?
Those are my exhibits, so I don't know if you should.
The what?
Those are my exhibits,
Well, why
so.
don't I pull this off?
Okay, if you want to pull it off.
Give me what you want to give me an answer to.
Okay.
This is his general motion requesting a dismissal.
Yes. So I'm just going through what the law says about protests of renewal of adult entertainment licenses. I thought it might be helpful for you to look at it while I talk. But so what it says is, first of all, there's no time period requirement for protests of renewal for adult entertainment licenses. It just says before the end of the renewal period. So we are before the end of the renewal period for this license. Second of all, it says that the community has to submit 10 or more written objections. And I think that we have submitted 10 or more written objections from property owners or residents. And Mr. Priebus is absolutely right about the election precinct. I have evidence to show what the boundaries of the election precinct are.
You agree with him on the fact they have to be in the election precinct?
Yes, yes,
10.
sir. 10 of them,
in
and
the election precinct.
there are absolutely 10 signatories to the petition who are within the election precinct, and most of them actually are, of the 40, I think, that are ish, that have signed. Most of those signatories are in the election precinct.
Well, you're prepared to show him
Yes.
and us, the board, which ones are and aren't.
Yes, sir. I have maps.
Well, you better do it.
So I guess, should I, because this is all kind of stapled together, should I separate them?
First of all, in order to have a proper, I think you want to mark the ones that you say are in, show it to council, and then show it to us.
So should I mark it Exhibit 1, or what should I mark it? 2?
One being the filed.
One being the file admitted, and this would be Exhibit 2 admitted. All right, and
So the first,
what precinct is this?
it is Ward 2, Precinct 2.
Of the second ward? Okay, so why don't you put the numbers besides the ones that you say are proper?
Well, what I have here is a map of the precinct, and then I have a map of the signatories.
Well, do you know which ones are which?
Yes.
All right, well, just indicate to him which ones you
Okay.
say are, and let him say that.
Here's the map of the precinct, which is the yellow. And so everything above Eastern Avenue and west of Washington, sorry, not Washington, what is this? Chester. West of Chester is part of the precinct. And so this is the map of the signatories. These are all north of Eastern, and Chester is off of the map. So there's obviously more than 10.
Let's see if I'm sort of joking right now, see if my memory's good enough. But as I recall, the first ward is over around Dundalk Avenue, the second ward would be just west of Canton, and the third ward would be Little Italy, am I correct?
I'm not sure, sir. I know where the second ward is. It's outlined in yellow, but I don't know where the other ones are.
Okay, anyway, go ahead.
I'm sure you're right.
How am I doing?
I think pretty good, man.
Okay.
Pretty good.
On that issue,
Good response.
Pretty good on that issue.
So
On
just
that issue, okay.
to show the commissioners.
Now, go show him, and
I
let's,
showed it.
show
Yeah.
him, and if he has any objections to them, then show us. If he agrees that you have 10 inside the second ward.
I agree that the addresses listed and as marked are in the second precinct of the second ward. I don't agree to anything else.
Okay. I don't think, we'll count that as you have submitted that to us.
Okay,
That's your evidence.
okay.
Go ahead with your argument.
So I believe we have agreement that we have 10 addresses that are within the election precinct. I would just argue that these petitions as submitted are 10 or more written objections, and they have been filed before the end of the renewal period. What else was I
Read
gonna
us the
say?
language about filing towards the end of the renewal period.
Yes, so here's the language, and this is actually a lot less detailed than the liquor regulations. It's much broader. So it says, if before the end of the renewal period, 10 or more written objections from property owners or residents within the same election precinct as the licensed premises are filed with the board must hold a public hearing on the proposed renewal. And then it says parties and interests and citizens must be given an opportunity to be heard. So it doesn't say anything about the earliest time someone can file a renewal. It just says before the end of the renewal period. And it says 10 or more written objections. It doesn't say anything about what the objections have to be about, what the form of the objections has to be, what needs to be included. It just says 10 or more written objections. And I think that this petition suffices as 10 or more written objections.
This is an ordinance.
Yes, this is city code, Article 15, Section 1-14.
Anything else on that?
No, sir.
Your reply?
It's premature, Your Honor. There hasn't even been an application filed yet. I don't know what the hurry is. This liquor license renewal protest is what it is, a liquor license renewal protest. If someone saw fit to make an adult entertainment renewal protest, then make an adult entertainment protest. This isn't it. It's just not it.
So your point is that the liquor board is incorrect in putting it down for hearing based on the protest that we have received?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your response?
Sir, again, the code is very broad, and it doesn't give directions on exactly what an objection means to be submitted to the board. It just says 10 or more written objections before the end of a renewal period.
So you said, your point is that you, by making a protest, in effect, are asking the board to put it down for hearing.
Yes, sir.
And this is the hearing.
Yes, sir.
All right. And your response to that, if any?
I think.
Okay, motion denied. All right, your next point. Do you have any other motions?
I move to dismiss based on the fact that Article 15, Section 1 et sec of the Baltimore City Code is unconstitutional, is violative of the First Amendment in that it does not provide an exemption for legitimate theatrical performances. There was a recent challenge out of Prince George's County in which the Fourth Circuit upheld such an objection, stating that the adult entertainment establishment did not need to prove standing because it was a challenge on its face to a prior restraint of First Amendment rights, that adult entertainment is protected conduct under the First Amendment. The Baltimore City,
Isn't that different than what we're talking about? First of all, I've ruled many times that the dispensing of liquor is a privilege.
we don't have liquor now, right, Your Honor?
Yes, but well, that's a good point. We're not involving liquor.
Okay,
So that's
yeah.
your point.
So the point is,
Your point is a civil rights type of activity there.
First Amendment, absolutely. Now, there was a provision in Article 2B regulating nudity in several counties, including Prince George's County. There was a challenge to that, and that statute was held unconstitutional. As a result of that, that statute, as well as 12203 of Article 2B, which is applicable to Baltimore City liquor license establishments that have adult entertainment.
But that's not the issue here, is it?
Well, if the statute is void on its face, then how can you revoke a license under the statute?
Excuse me for talking over you, I apologize, I should know better. But the issue here is not whether or not the licensee has the right to have adult entertainment. That's not our issue before us today. Isn't that true?
The issue today is whether the liquor board, in its authority under Article 2B, Section 12-203.1, should non-renew the 2015 adult entertainment license.
No, but not based on their right to have adult entertainment, but based on the complaints that they, I assume.
Right, and the power to do that derives from the ordinance. So if the ordinance is void, there is no power to revoke a license, because the whole licensing scheme is void and unconstitutional.
Let's see what Ms. Witt has to say about it before I say anything.
So the issues that we're bringing to the board don't necessarily have that much to do with the expressive conduct, let's say, of the dancers. They have to do with the nuisance issues that the neighborhood has suffered, and those have to do with many other issues like noise and drug activity. So I'm not sure how to respond to all the First Amendment issues that Mr. Priebus is bringing up, but I don't think that we're directly talking about expressive conduct here.
What he's bringing up is the right to have adult entertainment or not. And on that sole issue is the way I gather it. Is that right, Mr. Priebus?
Yes, Your Honor. I was looking for my updated statute. I believe I have it here.
Boy, I'm glad I'm not a lawyer anymore and have to find stuff.
Okay. In Article 2B, Section 12-203, which is applicable to Baltimore City, it used to just say Section D, this section does not apply to any licensee that offers adult entertainment as of May 31, 1993, or the transferee of the license for the same premises if the transferee continues to offer adult entertainment. The amendment to that section, as a result of the Fourth Circuit case, said that this section does not apply, I'm paraphrasing now, to legitimate theatrical performances in which nudity applies. That's the savings clause that this licensing ordinance has not done. They have not put it in. Without that savings clause, the entire ordinance is void. So if the ordinance is void, we can't.
Go ahead.
It's unconstitutional, Your Honor.
I don't think anybody's saying that. That's what you're missing. That's why I'm not catching what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm catching the point that they, frankly, from the prior hearing, I suppose I'm going to hear the same thing again, maybe, about the way the operation occurred at this location, which involved adult entertainment. But you're not challenging the right to have adult entertainment, is that correct? Or not correct?
We want the license not to be renewed because of other nuisance issues that have come up, but we don't have an inherent problem with the adult entertainment. It's all the other nuisance issues.
Well, you may have, I'll say this, you might have a problem with it, but you recognize the fact that they have the right to do it.
Yes, sir.
Motion denied. On that ground, that it's not the issue.
Understand the board's ruling.
Anything else? On that, on motions, and then they're going to go to their factual, I suppose.
Okay, may I have one moment? No further motions.
All right, go ahead, present your case.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Mr. Priebus, the license application hasn't been submitted yet. Is there an intent to renew the application for
Yes.
adult entertainment?
Absolutely.
Yes? Okay. All right, thank you.
The adult entertainment is a function of the license, it's a function of the zoning. So
Okay, but they're gonna renew.
the intention would be to renew,
All
yes.
right, all right. I was thinking you might say no and we would be done. But,
All right, so, we've kind of already been over this very first point. I just wanted to bring up, the requirements for protesting the renewal of an adult entertainment license. So we've kind of discussed the fact that there need to be kind of more written objections within the same election precinct. So I can skip over that. I have the, petitions here, then I have a map of the ward. and
Well, you've already
precinct.
been through all that.
Yeah.
All right,
And
let's
then I
go
have
to, what your issue
a
is.
map of the signatories, okay. So this next section is the part of the code that talks about when a board can,
Page eight.
yes, sorry, yes. When the board can not renew a license. And these are the only factors that the board can consider. Unfortunately, they are very broad. So the first one is making a material false statement. So we're going to be talking about numbers A2, A5, A6, and letter B. So there's 4 different reasons why we think that you should deny the renewal of the adult entertainment.
Well, I've also issued my own regulations with respect to this. Have you seen that?
Which I'm not sure.
With respect to the renewal of a license?
Yes, Administrative Decision 4, I believe it
Yes.
was. Yes,
You're
sir.
familiar with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't see it here.
Sorry, I didn't
Okay,
include it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so,
Meaning that it's not just like coming in and saying that there's been problems in the past and so forth, but
serious concerns about
serious concerns.
public safety, yes.
And I gave the challenges there inside my
Yes, sir.
number 4.
So the first one is making a false statement.
Do you have that copy available? Every hearing I've always had it, but today I don't.
Sir, I don't think I have it, but I can get it for us. I can have it to make sure that we have it.
You better get it.
I won't get it right now, sir.
Okay, so the first one is, we'll start with the most minor and go to the most.
You're not going to have to go back to the
No,
office.
no, I'm gonna have someone to bring it to me, sir. I was just walking to the side so I could have it emailed when it got over.
Okay, excuse me, go ahead.
Okay, so the first one is making material false statements in any application for an initial or renewal license. We discussed this briefly last week when we talked about the addresses of the 2 licensees. And
Objection.
Any reason?
There's no renewal application yet.
Sir, it says, in any application for an initial or renewal license, so I have attached the renewal from last year is the one that I'm referring to. Do you need,
Go ahead.
okay, so okay,
Overruled.
okay. So in that,
Subject, I want to take it subject to all the hearing I hear.
okay,
I'm going to take all your remarks, subject to a possible objection on your part, so I don't have to have rulings on every single issue.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to have a final ruling on it until I hear his position.
so this is the renewal from last year. It goes from July to June of this year. And in this renewal application, like the liquor licenses from last week that we talked about, the 2 licensees have submitted addresses where they do not reside. And so that, we believe, is a material misstatement of
I thought
facts.
they did reside at that point, but 6 months later he moved or something.
Right, so this,
So at the time, they made the prior.
no, actually, sir. So the renewal was submitted, well, it was notarized on June 11th, 2014, but Mr. Gunshall had sold his property in August of 2013. So 8 months prior to when this renewal.
August was prior, not after.
It was prior, yes. So these addresses were not correct. Okay, so continuing on, the next part of the code that we're going to talk about is the board can deny, suspend, or revoke for failing to comply with any provision of the subtitle of in Article 15. And the one that I am bringing up is Section 1-23. So I'm on page 12, which is just a printout of the code. And so section 1-23 talks about preventing nuisances. So it says every owner, operator, and manager of an adult entertainment business must exercise proper care and control to prevent the business or its operations from becoming or creating a public nuisance. This is in the adult entertainment section of the code, whether by generation of noise, blocking of public ways, or otherwise. And so in this section, these are all the letters that many of which you received last week, I think all of which, but
We're
I'm,
not gonna have to adopt, we can't adopt what happened last week.
no, but they're in your packet. I'm submitting them again for you. So letters
I
from,
want the record to be clear.
yes,
That I'm ruling that you can't use another hearing for
Okay.
this hearing.
okay, great.
The presentation as such, there's no evidence that's been submitted to the board yet.
Yeah, well, I told you before, I'm gonna accept all of this, subject to objection.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I'm gonna give you an opportunity.
The whole big picture, all.
And I've heard both of your
parts.
arguments
Gotcha.
and I'll rule.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't give Mr. Previs a copy, I don't think. Did I? No, I'm sorry. I was wondering why I had an extra
You got
copy.
him on page 8.
Yes, now I'm on page 12.
Well,
Now I'm on page 12. So after the section that talks about the owners and operators,
Mr. Jones is right on the ball there.
all the letters from all the community associations, so Fells Prospect, then there are a few from various individual community members, Patterson
You're
Park.
gonna introduce them right now?
Yes, sir, I'm introducing them.
All right, now what are you introducing specifically so we get the record?
Sure, so many of them have to do with,
Now, what pages are you introducing?
oh, okay, pages, I guess, 13 through, through 26.
All right, you're offering that, and now again, as I said before, we'll rule on it at the end. So they are offered as your exhibits.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Many of them have to do with just general noise issues for the neighborhood, parking, traffic, and specifically crime that has been associated with this establishment regarding there was a raid that was done in November after the previous violation hearing by the federal ATF, which was disruptive to the neighborhood, and as well as there was a fight in September of 2014 that was disruptive to the neighborhood. So some of the letters reference those incidents. Trying to see if I've missed anything. So I have two community members who would like to speak to the nuisance issues involved with this particular establishment.
Bring 'em up.
I can call them at this point. Okay. So Rob, I guess I'll call first. Can we borrow a microphone again? Thank you.
Call your witness.
So Rob, can you state your name for the record, please?
My name is Robert Birch.
And you own the property directly adjacent to the Big Easy?
The two properties directly adjacent, that's correct.
And you rent them to tenants, is that right?
That is correct.
And what kind of complaints have you received about the Big Easy specifically since these licensees took over, which is in the past 2 years?
Objection.
Basis?
Knowledge.
Most recently, I'd like to simply refer to the letter that my tenants submitted to the liquor board, and I referenced that letter at last week's hearing, where the tenants say that basically since the club reopened in January, not only have things not gotten better, but because of the arrest in September, the ATF raid in November, their concerns are about public safety and are at the point where they've had enough and may move on.
Have you received noise complaints from your tenants in the past 2 years?
Absolutely.
Okay. And specifically, what have those noise complaints been from, if you know?
From music, if I understand your question correctly, the complaints are about audible music volume and bass, which the memorandum of understanding specifically says must not be, the music volume and bass must not be audible.
Those are all my questions.
Cross.
Mr. Birch, you live in Rotherwood, Maryland,
That is correct.
and you rent the premises at 2002 and 2004 Eastern Avenue.
That's correct.
And what personal knowledge do you have about First Noise?
I'm in regular contact and have.
You personally, sir, what did you personally
I
observe?
have personally witnessed in the company of Victor Corbin, past president of FPCA, excessive volume, music volume and bass. Personally witnessed that
When?
in September of 2014, among other times.
Okay. And
In
Are you-
fact,
are
I've
you-
actually visited the property on occasions where my tenants have complained, and in the interest of protecting the business relationship that I've had with my tenants, I have visited the property so that I could witness firsthand the level of the music volume and bass, which is a problem that's been going on for years.
And since the liquor license was suspended and the place reopened, what personal observations have you had with regard to noise?
I personally have not witnessed any. I only can reference as I said, the letter that my tenants wrote saying that things have not gotten better.
What facts are there in that letter that things have not gotten better? I mean, you generalize the letter, and I've read the letter, and it doesn't say anything about specific incidences that occurred subsequent to the reopening of the establishment.
I don't have the letter in front of me. I'm sorry to say that the board has it, but I don't have any specific dates or times, or don't remember any specific dates or times referenced in the letter. And Mr. Previs, I'm not here because of a problem that either I or the community has created for the licensee. It's vice versa.
Any other witnesses of your witness? Oh, any other witness across? Okay, next witness.
Okay. Mary Ann? And remember to speak up and into the microphone.
And you have been sworn, your name, please?
Yes.
Mary Ann Ferguson,
And how do you spell your last name?
F-U-R-G-I-S-O-N.
Just the double entertainment, so you had it.
What are you doing?
This is just a copy of the adult entertainment code, I'm sorry, sir. You didn't
What
have
is it?
A copy of the adult entertainment code that you didn't have
Oh,
before.
okay. And spell your last name again, ma'am, I was distracted.
F-U-R-G-I-S-O-N.
And Ms. Ferguson, how often do you walk by the Big Easy?
Pretty much every day.
How far away do you live?
At
No,
the
we're
last,
talking about
I
for
was-
a period of time. Just before it reopened or after it reopened?
Sorry, with her walking by?
Yeah, but we have two issues here.
Mhm.
We have the issue of what the complaints were before this board heard the case and closed the bar for a significant period of time. And then we have the bar being reopened according to what we know is not accepted as testimony in this case. But I can't destroy it in my mind that the owner said that he ran the bar afterwards and reopened it himself. Okay, so let's find out what period of time we're talking about.
Okay, so is it that you only want to hear about after?
No, I want to hear whatever you want to tell us.
Okay.
But I want to know when it happened as to what she's talking about.
Okay.
Walking by could have been 10 years ago. I don't know what she's talking about.
Yes, sir. I was just trying to have her give a sense of how she's familiar with the bar. So let's talk first about what happened before the suspension. So what kinds of specific complaints did you have about issues that you personally observed at the Big Easy before the suspension?
so over the last 2 years with this management, I have had the noise issue. I can hear inside my house every night they were open. They would have a group of men standing along the Washington Street side of the building, not out there smoking. They were out there for long periods of time, making noise, carrying on, yelling at cars, all kinds of stuff like that. And I could hear it inside my house, which is, as they told me last time, I'm a half block, which is like 70 feet away. The other issue I have is over the last 2 years, they have like maybe 2 windows on the Washington Street side on the 3rd floor. And Originally, they were not supposed to be on the third floor. It was only supposed to be used as storage. But what happens is the girls dress on the third floor. There's some mini blinds that are broken. They're very sheer, and you can see them up in that third floor window. Often the window would be open. And if you were on the Washington Street side of the building, you can see them as you went by.
And sorry, just to interrupt real quick, if you mean, when you say you could see them, they were getting dressed and getting ready?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
The other thing I want to say is, this is a community of families, young children, very impressionable young children, and we don't have a way to not expose them to this adult entertainment, being right there on that block. You know, we try to shield our children from some things, like, you know, dancers and the people coming and going, but it's impossible when it's right there in our neighborhood. And we don't feel safe. I have a young daughter who's in her 20s who doesn't live at home because she doesn't like having to drive her car, park her car somewhere and then walk up to the house. She moved out to Dundalk. And this is a very big concern. I'm probably one of the last people that are still in the neighborhood. I've been there 20 years, and right now I can't leave the neighborhood, but a lot of people have left. And this is the reason. We've all been here for years. So, like I said, it hasn't gotten better.
Those are all the questions that I had. Can you talk about anything that's happened since the place reopened, I believe, in late January?
Yes. Well, just recently I saw Brian come to the bar. He's parked on the street, maybe twice, but it was only open one weekend that I was aware of. I'm not home every weekend. And then this past weekend, they were open. I can hear the music, as Robbie stated, the bass, as I walked up past the bar. And I was surprised that it was open, but I guess they had till today to continue, so it was open, and you can hear the bass as you walk past. The bass, the music from inside.
That's all the questions I had.
The establishment is on the west side of Washington Street, the side of the establishment.
Yes,
And you live where?
on the west side.
On the same side
I'm
of the
sorry,
road?
it is on the east side.
I'm sorry.
It's on the east side.
The
Yes.
establishment is on
On the
the
corner.
east side, and you are on the west side?
No, I'm on the east side.
You're on the same side.
I am.
Tell me the perspective that you're seeing into this third floor window that you're talking about.
I walk up and down that street a lot, and when I walk past, I can look up to the third floor and see what I just said about the girls in the windows, the windows being open
So where is it that you're standing when you see this?
on the sidewalk,
On which side?
on my side or the other side, both sides.
Both sides up to
Yes.
the third floor one, okay. And you said there were blinds there?
Yes, mini blinds that are broken, very sheer. You can see right into the room.
Okay, and when was the last time you saw this?
Probably about maybe spring, well, let me see. Probably in the fall, I think, when they were open.
Of
The fall?
2014?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And did you make any complaints to anyone?
I call 311 regularly.
Did you make any
About
complaints
this.
to anyone regarding this?
Yes. I speak to Robbie, I speak to Victor, who was our community president at the time.
And the individuals in the window were not fully clothed?
You know, I don't know, but they're dressing up there and you can see into the room. I don't know how clothed they were. I just walked past.
So
and
you
looked up and I
didn't
could
see anyone nude or partially nude?
Well, I can't tell if they're nude or partially nude. They
Okay.
dress scantily anyway, so I'm not sure.
Now, the signage on the establishment, it says The Big Easy, right?
Yes.
Does it say Adult entertainment?
Um,
Does it say adult entertainment?
Not that I'm aware of.
Does it say nude?
Not currently.
Not under this ownership, correct?
I assume not.
What is it that your children are being exposed to?
They're being exposed to an open window with people inside as you walk by.
Partially nude?
I don't know.
Okay. The noise, you heard the bass as you go by. This is on Washington.
The music, actually.
Excuse me?
Yes,
Okay. And this is on the corner of Washington Street and Eastern Avenue.
yes.
And do you hear any cars when you walk by Washington Street and Eastern Avenue?
Sometimes.
And do you know the decibel level of a car engine going by on Washington Street and Eastern Avenue?
No, I don't.
Is it louder or not as loud as any bass that you may hear coming outside of the Big Easy?
I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so just,
What's your conclusion, witnesses?
yeah, those are my witnesses. There are some more arguments that I have to make. Just getting through the letters here. Okay, so I have, I guess, two more. Section 1-28. I'm on page 27 now. It's past the letters. It says, so we talked about violation of any of the adult entertainment parts of the law, and now it says the board can deny, revoke, suspend for any of the following causes, and then it says failing to comply with any provision of any other local, state, or federal law that relates to the operation of the adult entertainment business. And so I wanted to bring in something that Mr. Grace had said, I guess, in the last hearing. He said that all of his dancers are independent contractors. And I just wanted to make the argument that that is a pretty serious, in our opinion, violation of employment law to classify his, he said on multiple renewal applications that he has no employees, 0 employees, and that 100% of the people working there are independent contractors. And so I'll go through this quickly because I know this is not a board that regulates labor and employment, but there's a presumption that that people who work for a business are employees. And to overcome that presumption, you have to prove that you're an independent contractor. And so I have the code here, the Maryland State Code for Labor and Employment, that talks about what an independent contractor is. And it's a person who's free from control and direction, who's engaged in an independent business or occupation. I'm on page 29. And the work that the person does is outside the usual course of business of the person for whom the work is performed. So in this case, the work would have to be outside the usual course of business for the licensees, or performed outside of any place of business of the person for whom the work is performed, the licensees. So in my opinion, having exotic...
I think it also says there can't be any control over the type of...
Exactly. So that's number one, free from control and direction. So I think that having dancers at a bar working for the licensees, that fails every single element, and these elements all have to be satisfied in order for you to be an independent contractor. And I mean, this is kind of a side matter, but independent contractors are not protected by employment law, by civil rights discrimination law. They're not allowed to unionize. They don't receive health insurance. And beside the fact that it's you don't have to pay taxes on those people. So I think that that is a pretty serious violation of state and possibly federal law to categorize the dancers as independent contractors.
Well, you don't have to deduct taxes. You don't have to do...
Right, sorry.
There's no W-2 slip. There's no...
Well, right, and they don't get Social Security taken out for them, Medicare, and they don't get a lot of the protections that employees get. Exactly, workers' compensation.
Unemployment compensation.
And I would argue that it's an exploitative practice to miscategorize your employees that way. And then the final argument is 1-28, offenses by an owner, operator, or manager. So this is on page 31, the section of the code that I've pulled out. So the board may also deny, suspend, or revoke because of the violation by any owner, operator, or manager of the adult entertainment business of any provision of any local, state, or federal law that involves, and then it gives a few options, but the one that's relevant to us is the manufacture, distribution, possession, or administration of controlled dangerous substances. And after this section of the
28, the same thing, the same issue that you're arguing about, an independent contractor, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm on page 31. So the section of the code I'm referring to is 1-28, but I'm on page
Wait, wait,
31.
get this one, 31.
Mhm. You see at the top,
What does 31 say?
at the top it says, certain kinds of offenses that are committed by owners and operators and managers are serious enough that the code says that the board can revoke or deny the renewal of a license. And so one of those kinds of offenses is the manufacture, distribution, possession, or administration of controlled dangerous substances. And so I am including the criminal complaint against Mr. Mariano, who is the manager of the Big Easy. We all, saw him at the last hearing in November, where he, because the licensees.
He was arrested in the car and so forth, but where is the connection with the liquor establishment?
Well, there doesn't have to be one.
Dancing establishment, huh?
There doesn't have to be one for this.
Why do you say that?
If you look in the code, and let me see if I have the full. Hold on just a second. Section.
Page 10.
Okay.
Last page. Oh, different packet.
So it says, for section B, the board can revoke for any violation of any law that involves controlled dangerous substances. And then down on C, it talks about what actually has happened at the bar. So it says the board may also deny, suspend, or revoke if the offense occurred on the premises. But that is not present in section B. So there's no requirement that the offense be committed at the licensed premises.
So section, you're only relying on B, not
Yes.
C. So read B again.
Sure. It says, offenses by owner, operator, or manager. The board may also deny, suspend, or revoke an adult entertainment business license or renewal license for the violation by any owner, operator, or manager of the adult entertainment business of any provision of any local, state, or federal law that involves, 1, the manufacture, distribution, possession, or administration of controlled dangerous substances. And then it also includes prostitution and other things that aren't related to our case.
So you mean, you're saying in effect, the fact that he was arrested and charged with distribution of drugs, even though it wasn't on the premises, is sufficient
Yes.
because of his position with the operation itself
Yes, sir.
as a manager.
And it's obviously in the board's discretion whether the violation rises to the occasion that the license would need to be revoked or not renewed. But the fact that it was committed at all in any place is sufficient under section B.
All right, the rest of your case?
That concludes my case, I believe. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, you can't cross-examine the lawyer, but you can certainly argue now what your position is.
Okay. Well, first of all, Your Honor asked me to reserve on making objections, so at this point, I would make objections to all of the packet that Ms. Witt has entered without any testimony.
Okay, go ahead. I'm going to listen to all your objections, but do you want me to rule on them one by one?
Ms. Witt identified the following sections with regard to the violation. Now, just so I'm clear, you start under this ordinance with the renewal protest. And that is in section, City Code, Article 15, 1-14D.
What page are you on?
It's page 7 of the code, but let me see if I can find it in Ms. Witt's packet.
It's number 1.
Number 1. D3 indicates any denial of a renewal license must be based solely on the standards set forth in 1-28 of this subtitle. So then Ms. Witt directs you over to 1-28.
Page 8.
And she referenced sections 1-28A2, A5, A6, and B in its entirety. Now, first, with regard to A2, making any material false statement in any application for an initial or renewal license. There is no false statement because there is no renewal application. We're here about a protest of the 2015 renewal. Additionally,
Wait a minute. I thought this was a renewal. They're asking for the,
they're asking that the 2015 adult entertainment license not be renewed.
yes.
And they're indicating that there was a material false statement in the 2015 renewal application. And there hasn't been filed yet.
Well, she's referring to the previous year.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you.
That's fine. But I want to make sure that you and I are understanding each other. I thought her point was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but your point was that previous year application was false. That he had already moved and did not own the property.
The previous 2014 adult entertainment license was issued. So it's
Yes,
too late to
but she said
protest
this
that
was
renewal.
Based on a false
Okay.
application.
Second part is any statement with regard to the address of the adult entertainment licensees could not be material because under the adult entertainment ordinance, there is no such requirement that they need to be city residents. So it's not material and it's not false because it hasn't been made yet. But I understand that what you're saying there.
Do you mind if I ask her what her reply to you?
So you were correct, I was talking about a previous renewal and not protesting that renewal, but saying that there was a false statement made in that application. There is, I agree, there is not a city residency requirement for adult entertainment like there is for a liquor license.
I believe it's material because the adult entertainment and liquor licenses are applied for to the same agency, and the false statements were consistent on the adult entertainment license with the false statements on the liquor license application. In any case, it was a false statement and it was made under oath. So if the board decides that it's not material, then I personally think it is material because it's connected to the liquor license application.
Well, Mr. Priebus, let me ask you, isn't it material that any type of false statement would be an issue with respect to either an adult entertainment license or a liquor license? Any kind of a false statement?
I am
Wouldn't that be a material fact for the board to consider?
I am speaking in terms of my understanding of the judicial gloss on the meaning of material false statement. If there's a statement even under oath that the sky is green, be that a misstatement or an opinion, it is not material and therefore not a criminal violation.
Well, isn't it true that the issue that the liquor boards all have with respect to all these regulations is to determine whether everybody has told the truth? That's one of the issues. We have to use the facts that were presented, and we're asked to believe those facts and then to rule on the facts as to whether or not whatever's being requested should be granted or not. And if a person makes a false statement, isn't that material to the considerations that the board should use in making their decisions?
It may or may not be, sure.
Well, with the issue of whether or not, where you live and whether or not you're a city resident, even if it's not the issue of adult entertainment, but of the accompanying, and I think she's correct, that the accompanying liquor license, and I think the board can assume that they work together. And if part of the working together contract is based upon a lie, isn't that something the board should consider?
I respectfully disagree, but I understand the point that you're making.
Well, let me go on to your next point.
The next section cited is subsection 5, failing to comply with any provision of this subtitle or any other rule or regulation adopted under this subtitle. I don't think there's anything in the adult entertainment ordinance that's specifically referenced. There are adult entertainment rules. The petition references Rule 8A and Rule 14.4.
What page? I've lost you.
Let's go into the petition now.
Where are we?
Let me give you a page.
Go back to the petition.
Page 2.
What is this?
Peti-
The code?
Page 2 of that book that she gave
Page
us.
2 of your booklet, sir.
You got it?
Yes.
Okay, now, excuse me, go ahead. What did you say again about page 2 of her exhibit?
Okay, in Ms. Witt's presentation, she indicated that under 1-28, excuse me, A5, that there was, the licensee failed to comply with 5, failing to comply with any provision of this subtitle or any other rule or regulation adopted under this subtitle. In the petition itself, with regard to adult entertainment, it references 2 rules. One is Rule 8A, and the other is 14.4. Rule 8A says, an adult entertainment business must keep on its premises records of the legal name, address, date of birth, and social security number of all persons employed by them or under contract with the business. I haven't heard any testimony, documentary or otherwise, with regard to that issue.
Well, I can't find 8A. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Where is it?
This is 8A here, and then this is the rule that's subsequent 8A for you for records. And
Where do you see 8?
Sorry, right here, 8A, rule 8A.
Okay. Excuse me. So, disappear.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I was trying to reference Ms. Witt's.
No problem.
Packet
Ask me
so that
for
I can
help.
assist you.
I mean, for time if you need it.
Okay.
Now, where are you?
The next. Okay.
The Rule 8A. You repeat that for me again.
Okay, the reference in the protest is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th paragraph. Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City Adult Entertainment Businesses, Baltimore City Ordinance 99-417, Rule 8A. Rule 8A in the Baltimore City Liquor Board rules of adult entertainment rules, not liquor board rules, states, an adult entertainment business must keep on its premises records of the legal name, address, date of birth, social security number of all persons employed by them or under contract with the business. There's just no evidence of anything.
Well, she brings up the issue as to whether or not they're independent contractors or not. Would not apply to that. She says that you say that the adult dancers, or not yours, but not you, but your witness said, and you're adopting it, I assume, for this argument, that these dancers are independent contractors. Isn't that true? Am I dreaming?
I don't know if we addressed that in the last hearing, did we?
Well, you argued
Did we?
it,
Okay,
or she argued that, Chet.
okay.
So am I to ignore that?
I don't know, there's no evidence of it. I mean, that's an extremely complicated issue, either under the Federal Fair Labor Standards Act or under the Maryland Wage and Hour Law.
I don't think it's anything. I don't think it had anything to do with this case, but there's no
Right.
question in my mind that both the unions and the employing industry, the contractors, have gotten a section of the code passed by the Maryland General Assembly, which is very strict as to what the definition of an independent contractor is.
Sure.
And practically nobody qualifies. I mean, with respect to going out in the old days and hiring somebody to work your trash or clean your buildings or whatever it is, or paint the apartment houses and so forth.
Right.
None of them qualify as independent contractors. And the reasons are set forth, which are clear.
Okay.
And it seems to me in this case too, and I'm not judging ahead of time, I'm asking you for your comment on it, that there's no such evidence here that they are independent contractors. Because the fact, first of all, the bar, the management and so forth can control what they do, among other things. And there's no deductions as a result of this because they're treating them as independent contractors of wages, workman's compensation, unemployment, and I could go on and on and on. And I could go on and on, this is what the definition is. Over and over again, the Department of Licensing rules on this all the time. Because they don't want anybody to be independent contractors. They want them to pay their fair wages and, their fair taxes and so forth in society, which is sociologically decided that's what they should do. And what's your response to that?
Number one, it's not my burden, and number two, it is a complicated issue. If Jessie Jane were to dance at this establishment, she would clearly not be an employee, she would be an independent contractor. It's a whole lot more complicated than whether you have dancers or not, Your Honor, most respectfully. There's just no evidence here, it's not my burden to refute, it's the burden of the protesters.
All right, what do you have to say to that?
Well, if we look at the transcript of the hearing last week, Mr. Grace said that all of his dancers are independent contractors. And I believe Mr. Previs echoed that in that hearing last week. I don't have any other knowledge as to
He
the.
said it's not an issue but with respect to this type of the case that's before us today.
Okay, so I would just say that.
This type of use. That's what he's arguing.
It's under 1-28A.
6.
Where are you, what page?
I'm on page 8, which is just the, it's just the code. 1-28A, A6 says, failing to comply with any provision of any other local, state, or federal law that affects or relates to the operation of the adult entertainment business.
All right, how are you going to get into evidence in this case what happened last time?
That's an excellent question, sir. Because I don't have a copy of the transcript from last week, and if there's no way for me to do it, we can just completely disregard that.
Were you offering a copy of the transcript in that case, in this case, as evidence?
Well, I don't have a copy of the transcript.
Well,
If
a
I
prospective
could,
copy.
yes, I would absolutely love to offer
Any
that.
objection to that?
Sure.
Oh. All right, so now the transcript is in evidence from,
Great.
after it's written up, from the previous hearing, and you're stating as an attorney that that's what it contains.
Yes, sir.
All right, so next point, Mr. Peters.
Then the 5 and 6 kind of merge together, so one is with regard to the adult entertainment ordinance and/or any rules adopted pursuant thereto, and 6 is any other.
Local, state, or federal law that affects, and I just re-adopt the argument of what I previously said with regard to that. In the petition, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think that Mr. Previs kind of missed one of the things that I said, because he said that under number 5, that I didn't have any examples of failing to comply with any other provisions of this subtitle, but what I brought up specifically was section 1-23, which says owner to prevent nuisance, and so that's when all the letters were brought in about.
The letters you're submitting today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. About proper care and control over preventing the business from becoming a public nuisance, whether by generation of noise or otherwise. And so that is a section of Article 15 that I brought in under 1-28.8A.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was going. The petition references Rule 14.4, which is a verbatim quote of 1-23, previously entitled Article 15, Section 172. Every owner, operator, and manager of an adult entertainment business must exercise proper care and control to prevent the business or its operation from creating a public nuisance, whether by generation of noise, the blocking of public ways, or otherwise. So the evidence that we have here today is that Ms. Ferguson could see in a window. They may have been clothed, they may not have been clothed. Mr. Birch, through hearsay, through his tenets of things that occurred prior to the closure, that they could hear music through the walls. Ms. Ferguson, that she could hear music when she walked past. The submittal of the indictment, the federal indictment of the prior manager, it's not a conviction. It didn't occur on the premises. And it's not relevant.
No conviction?
Not that I'm aware of. I didn't even know of the indictment until it was in the packet last week. As I said, Mr. Grace broke all contact with Mr. Marino or Mariano on the day of the November hearing. It's not relevant. It didn't happen in this premises. Mr. Birch references a memorandum of understanding that is not in evidence here. But that memorandum of understanding was penned in such a way that there would be cooperation and phone numbers would be provided and communication would be provided so that things such as the bass being too loud or someone leaving a blind open could be addressed or a sandwich board could be addressed. If these items did in fact rise to the level of a public nuisance, which I disagree that the evidence supports that, but if they did, it's not grounds for non-renewing someone's license. Lastly, I reference the chairman's, the board's recently adopted regulation penned by the chairman, and the emphasis on what has occurred since any sanction occurred during the license year, and the evidence is absolutely zero. Mr. Birch got his tenants to write a letter, and they are very vague about something happening after, but they don't reference. Oh, thank you. They don't reference any specific instances where the music was too loud and Mr. Grace didn't react.
Ask you, that very question. Of course, naturally, what has happened after the punishment, you might say punishment, that the board inflicted as a result of prior complaints, is the board, are you saying the board can't take into consideration the conduct of the establishment before the punishment?
No, Your Honor. I'm saying that in the playbook case, the board made very clear that they were focusing on primarily the conduct of the licensee subsequent to the reopening. And the regulation does indicate that we will look at the record of the licensee from its inception, and we will look at the entire license year. But we will put emphasis on what happened after the reprimand. And my point is, nothing happened after the reprimand.
Let me ask you another point that she's brought up. She's brought up the fact that the adult entertainment and the license, while they're separate, nevertheless, there's a presumption that they're meant to operate together. What do you have to say about that?
Not necessarily, Your Honor. What was done, when the adult entertainment,
Can you give me one example where there's an adult entertainment operating anywhere without a liquor license?
Him.
is Wagon Wheel still open?
What did you say?
Wagon Wheel used to be an adult entertainment establishment without. The Apex Movie Theater had an adult entertainment license under somebody's misconception of what live entertainment was many years ago. They closed a year ago. On Ponca Street, years ago, operated without their liquor license for quite some time. This establishment operated for a time under Mr. Schulman, the current owner of Scores, with only adult entertainment, and he had a contract to sell this 6-day liquor license to Mr. Fertitta, who was operating in Broadway Market where Previs Brothers was.
So you're saying that there is a history?
There is a history, absolutely.
Commissioner questions?
These are for your client. Is that appropriate, Your Honor, or are you gonna have your client testify?
No, absolutely, appropriate. This is not the
so-
Circuit Court of Baltimore City.
Yes, ma'am.
So when all this back and forth was going on about the dancers and their status and their independent contractor status, I saw you nodding that yes, indeed, you consider them independent contractors. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've always considered them independent contractors? And you consider them independent contractors because you don't provide them with any health insurance?
I don't pay them, I don't offer them hours, they come and go as they like, they dance when they want, they dance when they don't want, whatever is convenient for them.
So you have no control over them,
Whatsoever.
and you never know who's gonna show up, or,
Who's gonna be there at any given night.
and you don't know who's not gonna be there?
I don't know anybody.
Except there's one that you do know, correct?
Me.
No,
What'd you say?
no, there is one dancer that you do know,
Oh, yes.
right? And I forget her name, but she's the one that has a 25% ownership interest.
Haley Taggart, yes.
Right, and so is she an employee?
No,
She's not does she dance?
no.
No.
Sometimes. She hasn't been there in probably 3 months.
Okay, but she's the 25% owner
And she's also vice president now.
and vice president now. Okay, so you've got your corporate status worked out. Okay, and isn't that really, well, never mind. The arguments regarding the criminal activity of the manager, we had a lot of testimony about that last week. And this was the one who, he actually testified, I think, back in November.
Yes.
And then a few days later, he was arrested. Do I have that correct?
I have no knowledge of that other than what she's providing.
You don't have any knowledge of his situation?
No, ma'am.
I don't believe you. I
fired him.
absolutely don't believe you. I think you know everything about him.
I don't know how to respond to that. I fired him in the lobby here on the 20th. That was that.
And then you never read about what happened to him afterwards?
No,
Or
ma'am.
you never heard anything? You were never subpoenaed
Nope,
about it?
nope.
Okay. Are you, the testimony regarding your residence, you're still living in, I think it's Anne Arundel, Kent County,
Queen Anne's County.
Queen Anne's County?
And I still rent a room on Pleasant.
Okay. Is by any chance your landlord here today? No, your landlord's not here. All right, those are all the questions that I have.
Any other questions?
Why didn't you fix that window on the 3rd floor?
I wasn't aware there was a problem with the window on the 3rd floor.
How often did you go to the establishment?
Fridays and Saturdays,
Do you ever look around and see what's needed and what's the condition of the place?
every
If you
day.
can't see a broken window, how can you say
There's no
everything's on the
broken
inside
windows,
in
sir.
the
Oh,
darkness?
I'm sorry. There's no broken window, sir.
So the person who testified that the window was broken, they made a misstatement?
I don't know what her statement was. I don't know.
She
what
said the
her-
windows were broken on the 3rd floor, if I remember correctly.
The windows are not broken on the 3rd floor.
It was the mini blinds, I believe, that are broken, and so people can see in and see activity. Are you aware of that? I think that's what she was referring,
The mini
if a
blinds.
friendly
I think
amendment.
the mini blind in the bathroom was broken and a towel was hung in its place.
That's the quality of work you do. You put a towel in the place of a mini blind.
That was a quick fix for a broken blind.
Has it been fixed since that time?
No, sir.
How long has the towel been there?
I'm not sure exactly. I wouldn't even hesitate to guess.
More than a month?
Yes.
Do you have any records for any of your employees?
I don't have any employees, but the dancers, they come, I get the copy of their license, I get all their information, and then I give them a set of rules which, if they're going to come, they have to follow, which is no drugs.
You said a copy of their license?
Yes, sir.
What's that?
Their driver's license.
Oh,
So make sure they're 18, and I keep that on file.
okay, I misunderstood.
I don't pay them.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
So how do they generate revenue? How do
They-
they just dance for fun? I mean, I don't understand.
The customers tip them.
So they dance for tips,
Yes, ma'am,
and that's it?
that's it.
Isn't that a violation of state law?
If it is, I didn't know.
It's not, You don't have to pay a wage at all? Okay.
What's your percentage from the tips?
None whatsoever. Don't take any money from
How do you generate revenue? How do you make money?
Prior, it was alcohol sales.
Are you gonna change your business model now that you don't have a liquor license?
Yes,
And
we're
how
gonna
are-
have to do
how
something
are-
different.
What are you gonna do different?
I don't know at this point.
May I ask
Okay.
a question of Mr. Grace?
No, I think
Okay.
we're ready for final argument, folks.
Mm.
I'm gonna bring it to, heard it all. Now, how much time do you need? 4 minutes?
I'm sorry?
4 minutes?
4 minutes would be
There's a lot of
more than-
complicated issues. Are you satisfied with that, Mr. Breeden?
I believe I've made all my arguments, Your Honor.
I mean, for your final closing.
Yes, sir,
4 minutes enough? You know,
more than enough, because I think we covered everything.
Okay,
At the timer.
all right.
I have it.
Good. You got it? Go ahead, ma'am.
I don't have it today.
So, just to bring us back to what the code says are the issues that the board can consider in section 1-28. First of all, Mr. Grace and Mr. Gunshall, who for some reason never shows up to these hearings, have both made material false statements in their application for last year for their renewal. They also have not complied with the section of the code that says that they need to operate in such a way that they do not cause a nuisance to the community. And I completely disagree with what Mr. Previs said about the evidence presented, because it wasn't just the 2 witnesses that I have here today. It was all of the letters that I submitted today on behalf of all of the community associations in the area that I can think of, saying that this place has been a nuisance for them. It has interfered with their quiet right to enjoy their property, and that is what a nuisance is. Mr. Grace, we believe, is also in violation of employment law, which means that he is not only taking advantage of the community, but taking advantage of his own workers in his bar. And finally, really the most egregious violation, and the one that has kind of pushed everyone over the edge, is the fact that Mr. Grace and Mr. Gunshall presumably hired someone who was arrested for drug trafficking cocaine in large quantities for distribution into the state. And it's obviously a violation of Section B1. Even though we don't know whether or not the ATF agents found drugs on the premises, but it's not required by the law. It's kind of a mess overall. They're lying to the agency, they're being a nuisance to the community, they're taking advantage of their workers, and their manager is involved in drug trafficking. I can't imagine much worse of a case than this, and I think that the adult entertainment license should be not renewed for this year.
With regard to the manager was fired the day of the hearing. The issue is renewing the adult entertainment license beginning July 1, 2015. I don't know what he did or didn't do, because I've seen an indictment, not a conviction. It did not occur on the premises. He is no longer the manager. And I tend to agree with Your Honor's points with regard to this. Nothing had anything to do with this premises. It occurred outside of the premises. Yes, people can come into your premises that do illegal things, and it's how you react to them, not that they happened on your premises. If we look at what occurred in this premises during this license year as compared to other licensees, we have a fight that was reversed on appeal as being a violation of operator shall operate their establishment in such a manner to disturb the peace. We have an affirmance on this manager who has been fired, failing to cooperate with the police officer in the observation of the circuit court judge, that by making the statements he did, that he tended to avoid further investigation by the officer. We have one violation. Then we have, didn't comply with the MOU, the sandwich board was out. That was taken care of right away. We have the next door neighbor tenants complained about the base. That's a violation of the MOU and a disturbing the peace, taken care of when the manager was immediately fired. We have evidence today and evidence the other day that people loitered on Washington Street and Eastern Avenue. That's going to happen whether this place is here or not. That the blind was broken. It's not a murder, a stabbing after hours, underage. There are no such violations that the cumulative effect would be tantamount to non-renewing the license. So it's just not here in this case. The only issue is the not getting a qualified licensee who is a city resident for the liquor license. And the board has taken action on that. There's no such requirement for an adult entertainment license, and respectfully ask that the board renew this application when it's filed. Thank you.
All right, time for decision. This is a tough one, and I like to say that with respect to the facts of the actual operation of the liquor license, I don't think necessarily applies to what we have before us today, which is the adult entertainment license. I think and also the fact that the manager of the bar hasn't been convicted, we know means that the fact that he hasn't been convicted means that there's no that he is not convicted, and we've got to treat it as if he is still innocent of the charges. Therefore, I'm not going to consider it. And I'm not going to consider with respect to my decision, the facts with respect to the part that's been reversed by the Circuit Court of Baltimore City of the conduct of an employee that occurred inside the bar, which the court said it was not sufficient to implicate the operation of the establishment. What I am looking at, however, is the truthfulness of the parties in getting their licenses in the first place. Now, I think it is true that Mr. Previous has convinced me that adult entertainment is not necessarily linked into a liquor license irretrievably. In other words, it's a necessity that they can operate independently, and that's the way we have to look at it. Now, the question is whether or not the method of getting the licenses, even though it was not the adult entertainment license, showing that the conduct of the persons who were primarily involved in the operation of the adult entertainment license are of such a strength as to cause this board to deny the adult entertainment license. And it's on this issue that I look carefully. The facts seem clear that whether it was carelessness or with deliberately, that there was not a proper resident of the city of Baltimore when these licenses were joined together for an operative purpose. And it's on that issue that I find it strongly indicates that that without the fact that they did not properly comply with the law, it wouldn't have existed in the first place. And it's that issue and that issue alone that I resolve my decision as to vote no. Because I think it is important that this board has to be able to depend on the testimony and the presentation of facts without going into its own investigatory procedures, which we don't have enough staff to do that. And we have to rely on the testimony. And so it's that and that only that I determine no. It's my decision.
Well, I'm looking at the character of the individuals or individual who filed the application. And the foundation of this adult entertainment location is based on the application that had false information on it. So if that information, with that information being false, the application being illegal, how did we get to where we are with an illegal application? I mean, it's the character we're talking about. The character of the person who's a part of this organization. And based on that, I too believe that we need to close this place down. So my vote is no.
I also vote no as to the renewal. In addition to the reasons already expressed by Chairman Ward and Commissioner Jones, I'm persuaded as to the nuisance aspect of this operation, and I'm persuaded by the testimony here today from Brian Holsey as to what he has experienced personally, as well as what his tenants, who were the most proximate to this location, have experienced and complained about. Joining that is the testimony from Mr. Robert Birch and Marianne Ferguson, and then also the letter from Dina Damara, all complaining about the nuisance that is represented by this establishment. But we also had written communications, letters from, I think, the 4 or 5 community associations that are closest to this establishment. That's the Fells Prospect Community Association, the Fells Point Community Organization, the Patterson Park Neighborhood Association, Butchers Hill Association, and Baltimore Highlands Neighborhood Association. It is rare that we have such unanimity against an establishment and such overwhelming no, please do not renew. But that wasn't it. Cristo Rey Jesuit High School has sent in a letter saying, expressing the nuisance value, and they're right around the corner from this establishment. And just to really drive home the point as to the nuisance value or nuisance aspect of this establishment, it looks like just about every elected official representing the area where this establishment sits has sent us a letter saying, do not renew. And that would include Councilman Jim Kraft, City Council President Jack Young, and the 3 members of the 46th Legislative District, Luke Clippinger, Peter Hammond, Brooke Learman, and that's just an overwhelming expression of the negative impact that the establishment has had on the community, and I think that can't be disregarded, and I don't disregard it. And I do recognize those communications. And I think the most, we are not the Circuit Court for Baltimore City. A lot of the rules, procedures of the Circuit Court aren't applying here, but one thing that does apply is our ability to assess the veracity and character of witnesses. And the only witness that we have that's urging us to continue or renew the license is the licensee himself. And just my own assessment of his veracity and truthfulness falls short of both of those. I don't find his testimony to be truthful, and I find it concerning. And add to that my own assessment of his testimony, plus the misrepresentations on the original application, just lead me to the only conclusion that this license should not be renewed.
You have our decision, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Let me know when you're ready. Call the case.
Calling Sportscaster Incorporated, trading as Characters Corral, Virginia Anderson. Come on up. Be right here, sir.
All right. Your violation case.
Yes, this is a violation case. Thomas Akers on behalf of Liquor Board, and ma'am.
All right, swear all the witnesses.
Your Honor, if I may, I spoke with Ms. Minnick. Ms. Minnick is the bar manager. The licensee is actually a school teacher. She's unavailable to come here today. After speaking with Ms. Minnick, she is ready to go forward with a plea in this case to the violation.
Licensees are always supposed to be present.
Correct. And if Ms. Minnick want to address?
Yeah, I have payroll attorney, but I didn't bring it with me.
Well, that's not good enough. You have to have the licensee here. You know, it's going to be one of the issues in this case with respect to a determination for me to determine whether or not a fine or a punishment should be issued as a result of the licensee. However, I want to go ahead with the case.
Okay.
But I'm going to leave that issue at the end.
Okay, not a problem, sir. And also preliminarily, in the workup sheet that I provided for you, sir, I listed some past violations. This license actually transferred in 2010 from Richard Anderson to Virginia Anderson. Richard Anderson was the husband. He passed away. Virginia Anderson took over in February 2010. So those prior violations in 96 and 2009 do not apply to this particular license.
So 96, no.
And 2009, no.
No.
So no violations?
No history of violations.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, to my left
Is
is...
she admitting the facts? I'm not.
Correct, Your Honor. She's admitting the facts, and I'll just read something
All right,
briefly.
let me ask her, sir, ma'am, do you understand by what he means by admitting the facts in this
Yes,
case? You understand you have the right to answer questions and not admit the facts and make him prove his case to the liquor board? And knowing these facts, you still want to go ahead with him reading the facts into evidence? Okay, that doesn't mean that you don't have anything, a right to say, because you do. All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. On March 23rd, 2015, at approximately 1:30 p.m., Inspector Kevin Burley, standing to my left, in the Comptroller of Maryland Field Enforcement Division, conducted a routine dealer inspection of the establishment located at 2148 Wilkins Avenue, Baltimore City, Maryland, trading as Characters Corral. On conducting his investigation, Inspector Burley discovered the following items that were purchased from a retail dealer, Southwest Liquors, on March 13, 2015, but were behind the bar for sale and kept on the premises of the establishment. Bottle, 750 milliliters of Kinky Vodka Blue, 1 bottle of 750 milliliters Kinky Vodka Pink, and 21 12-ounce bottles of Heineken beer. Inspector Burley was also able to obtain a copy of the sales receipt indicating the aforementioned alcoholic beverages were purchased from a retail establishment, not a wholesaler or distributor as required by the licensees. The inspector advised the bartender, Miss Melanie Smith, of infraction and confiscated the contraband, took photos and drafted a report. And Your Honor, I'm going to be moving into evidence the evidentiary file. It's in the file itself, and it includes both the pictures and the report, which was drafted. I just have copies here, but it's in the file if you'd like to take a look at that.
All right, exhibit, if matters contained in the file are admitted as exhibit number 1.
Your Honor, all events occurred in Baltimore City, state of Maryland. That would be my case.
All right, now, ma'am, at this time, do you have anything you wish to say? You recognize the facts that he's saying occurred?
Yes, sir.
And affected with respect to the purchase of goods?
Yes, sir.
All right, you have anything else you want to say?
Yes, sir.
Glad to hear from you.
I wasn't in town when that happened. My daughter brought the liquor in. She had a party, and she didn't know that we couldn't have it behind the bar. When I was called about it from the bartender, I spoke to, I don't remember, Inspector Burley, and let him know that I was out of town and I didn't know they was there. I come right back that day, and he come back and talked to me and showed me the pictures. I didn't even know what the bottles of Kinky or Skinny or whatever it's called looked like. He showed me the picture of it. I do have the alcohol awareness training. I went to that class. I have the certificate for that. We've never did anything or been in any trouble before. I card everybody that comes in. We don't, we have a middle-aged crowd. I wouldn't even have sold that kind of vodka in here. It was just a mistake done by my daughter with me not being there, and I apologize for it, and it won't happen again.
All right, ready for decision. With respect to, all commissioners vote on both decisions, and with respect to the violation, I understand there's no record.
Correct.
And apparently cooperation, and I'm persuaded that there didn't appear to be any intent to avoid the payment of taxes. $250 fine. With respect to the failure of your licensee to be here, $500 fine. And that's my decision. Mr. John?
I agree.
I concur, and just appreciate you explaining Kinky Blue and Kinky Pink. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me why those particular bottles would be there. Skinny vodka I could have understood for our age group, correct? But Kinky Pink, no. Kinky Blue, no. But I concur in the imposition of the $250 fine and the $500 fine for failure to appear.
Sir, is that,
Wait a minute, the executive secretary has been.
are there any administrative fees, sir? The 125 still applies?
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
Okay, I just want to make sure I put that in there. Thank you,
Always
sir.
unless there's some reason not to.
Okay.
So
All right, do you understand what she's talking about? We'll go down and she'll explain to you.
it's a total of $875. There's a
You get- How
200,
much time do you need to pay it? You can give me whatever you want.
Who's gonna
One?
pay you? You are the owner.
No, I'm the manager.
Who's gonna pay? Who's responsible for paying?
well, Your Honor, we should explain, the $500 fine is for your owner not appearing. And it is, it doesn't matter.
She's the one that's supposed to pay it.
She needs to pay that.
And I didn't even tell her about it.
She doesn't know that this is happening? You know, these hearings are televised.
I'll
I
tell you
don't
what,
know, and I mean, this
let me
is the
talk to my
first time.
commissioners on this.
Yes.
I'm gonna reduce it to 250, but to her specifically on that. With the administrative fee, there's no administrative fee on the 250.
Okay,
That's for her not coming down here, but you understand that she has to pay it.
yes,
And
sir.
her failure to pay it could endanger her license.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm gonna give her 2 weeks to pay that.
Okay,
Now, with respect to the $250, I'm gonna let that stand because you have to obey the law.
yes, sir.
And you have an administrative fee there. You understand that?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
how much time do you need to pay that since you're gonna pay it?
Could I have a month?
Yes, I'll give you 1 month.
Okay.
Now, the other commissioners have to vote on that
I
change.
agree.
I agree.
Thank you.
All right, you understand that's our decision?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. And we'll stand adjourned. We're done.
One more thing, if I may add, sir. Just want to let everyone know that the bar was served on April 15th, 2015, approximately.
You talking about this board?
This particular bar was served with the summons 15 days ago.
Okay. All right. We'll stand adjourned till,
Just
next
make
week.
clear that we have 3 cases that are not going to go forward because
the
of,
police officers have been called off
Yeah.
because of the riots and all.
right, the last 3 cases, the officers are detailed elsewhere because of the circumstances in the city.
I had to make sure I didn't hit my parking spot, that's why.
Oh, yeah, where did you park your car? Oh, never mind.
Probably on the
Never-
street, I'm getting no tickets because they're all busy.
Oh, that's true.
They're not that busy.
Actually, I told
I
somebody
did
that
see
last
your
night.
car being towed away, I thought. It was up in the air. Oh, okay.
Actually, I gave somebody advice last night, the truth. I said, you don't have to worry
30
about
days.
tickets. And you know,
Right. Take care. All right, you too.
right after I